Fire crews are battling the elements as they try to contain a wildfire north of Los Angeles near Interstate 5. Kenichi Haskett with LA County Fire says wind gusts reached 50 miles per hour yesterday.
It makes it challenging, basically, for water drops. As you can imagine, helicopters or airplanes trying to drop fire retardant or water on a fire, and when it's windy, it pushes it just sprays the water everywhere else or that we don't need it. So that's been a challenge, putting, water on the ground from our aircraft. And then additionally makes it spotting. What we call spotting is when you get those ambers that can reach up to a mile away from where the fire, where it originally started.
Maryland Governor Wes Moore is scheduled to sign an executive order to issue 175,000 pardons for marijuana convictions. It would forgive those low-level charges to an estimated 100,000 people. Townhall.com. The deadly implosion of an experimental submersible that was en route to the deep-sea grave of the Titanic last June has not dulled the desire for ocean exploration.
Tuesday marks 1 year since the Titan vanished on its way to the historic wreckage site. The U.S. Coast Guard quickly convened a high-level investigation into the disaster, but officials said no results will be released for at least another 2 months. The implosion killed the submersible's operator, Stockton Rush, and 4 others.
Correspondent Jeremy House reports that family, friends, and fellow sea explorers plan to hold both public and private ceremonies this week to honor those victims. A passenger plane landed safely at a New Zealand airport earlier today after a fire shut down one of its engines. There were 67 passengers and 6 crew members aboard the Boeing 737-800 jet. More at townhall.com.
What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man on this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat.
Yeah, come on. I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The devil listen, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And a good morning, one and all. Welcome to one last morning without Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Yes, I ain't he. That wouldn't be me. Mixmaster Mike Winters is on his way back from paradise. That's right. I believe they came back into port yesterday, I believe. They all de-shipped or came off the boat. I'm not sure what the term is. Deboarded? Unboarded?
Yes.
Is it deboarded or unboarded? I don't know. Anyways, he got off the boat.
He's fresh off the boat.
Fresh off the boat. And they got back in their car, which that was a whole hassle in and of itself, trying to find and pay for parking there. He said just parking the vehicle there for the time it was going to be there was over $200 just to park the vehicle.
What?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a secure parking area, and that's great. It's like, at this point, I would try to friend someone in the Galveston area. I would just try to make a friend and say, hey, Jim, can I leave my car at your house for 7 days while
Well, yeah,
Jim and I are
that's
on
what I was
this
going to
cruise?
say. I'll just leave it somewhere and walk a mile to wherever I need to go.
Yeah, but then there's the whole, my car's on street parking, and what if there's like a street sweeper that comes along, or God forbid it gets ticketed for, parking in a public area. There's traffic laws that are associated with that. And I understand that, but boy, that's a lot of money to pay for parking. Oof.
Where's he at now?
Well, I'm not totally sure as of right now. I haven't checked the chat. I'm not sure if Kim has checked in, but they were driving from the Galveston area. I believe they were going to make a stop and sleep for the night, and then they were going to finish their trek through today. So we will know more, hopefully, once I establish some type of connection with young Kimberly, or actually Mike, because Mike's back to. Are we? Did we go live?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Are you sure about that? But anyways, we. Oh, you know what? You're right. We did. It's just is my face. That's all. Yeah. So Mike's watching. We're not sure where they're at, but they're somewhere in their trek back to Roswell. He'll be back inside your radios tomorrow morning to regale us with all sorts of stories from the sea. So I'm actually genuinely excited to hear.
Did he stop anywhere after Mexico?
After on the way back?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I know that they had one stop in, and actually I heard a funny-ish story about Kim as last week. They were in Cozumel. They had gone to Honduras to make an emergency stop, but then they went to Cozumel, and I think they were going back to Honduras was the final port, I think, and then they were heading back to the main port there in Galveston. But yeah, Mixmaster Mike will be back inside your radios tomorrow morning. You got me for one more day. We're going to do this thing one more time. And hopefully you had yourselves a great weekend, trudging back on into work on a Monday morning. How was your weekend?
It was a weekend.
Do anything fun?
I don't know. I never remember my weekends when people ask me them. Like I'm one of those guys.
You always want to have one good story, but then when you become like a grown up and somebody asks you what you did this weekend, and you're like, I did nothing, but it was awesome. It was an awesome nothing because literally I had nowhere to be. It was actually kind of nice this weekend. The stars aligned, so to speak. I didn't have the kids. I didn't have any remotes or live broadcasts this weekend, so I was pretty freed up, and it was Father's Day weekend, so nobody was going to guilt me too bad if I, had a little extra fun or did things a dad way, so to speak.
Yeah.
But happy belated Father's Day to all the great fathers out there, all the fantastic dads.
Yes, that's what happened during the weekend. I completely forgot, but yes, we had a good Father's Day at our household.
Did you guys do anything special? Throw stuff on the grill? I know you guys are really being careful with dietary restrictions and stuff now. So
we just had an outdoor grill and invited our neighbors and stuff.
Very cool.
It was just that was it.
Nice. I'm a big believer in karma and karmic retribution. We were joking off the air that, it's probably because I watched a lot of My Name is Earl. But I'm a huge believer in karma, and I believe that karma is kicking me in the keister right now. Let me explain. So yesterday, my friends and I decided, we don't have the kids this weekend. Why don't we go? Now, I can say this because I'm pretty sure my kids aren't listening right now. I said, why don't we go to the pool? I mean, think about it. Every time we go swimming, because I have a 5-year-old who his swimming skills leave something to be desired, so I have to constantly be an arm's length away from him when we go to the pool, which means, swimming for me is basically keeping a toddler alive while Rhiannon goes off and has fun, and Hunter has enough fun in his own right. But I'm like, I want to actually go and do stuff for myself. Go down the slide. I never get to go down the slide. So I'm like, I'm going to go just without my kids. But it's funny. Everybody I told that I was going to the pool, they said, oh, that's nice. Father's Day and you're taking your kids to the pool. I said, I never said anything about bringing the kids. I just said that we're going to do this. And the kids, well, they don't have to know. But here's the thing. Yesterday, whilst in the pool, we decided to get out of the deeper end of the pool that we were in and go down the slide. Well, I was trying to be like, Tommy Tough Guy and show that, hey, I don't need to use a ladder to get out of the pool. I could just prop my arms up on this pool side and pull myself up. And I did that successfully. I got all the way up, but I felt a little twinge in my shoulder when I did it. No big deal at the time. Didn't really even think about it. It was, not even a thing. But then it got worse, and then it got worse and worse and worse. And I think that, coupled with the fact that I slept wrong last night, I'm in severe pain right now. Like from here all the way down to like the midpoint of my shoulder, I'm having a hard time moving. Like if I'm turning like this. I'm going to be looking at you with my whole body today.
I can't turn left.
It's I have the Zoolander disorder. But so karma kicking my butt because it's like, oh, you didn't take your kids to the pool? Shoulder injury. How about that?
Right.
I mean, I'm sure it's not why. I'm sure it's just, I was being cocky and trying to show off. Still, though.
I think it was just the first time you went swimming in a long time. And so your body's probably not used to that.
It's the first time that I've gone actually, swimming and not I even pointed it out yesterday. Half the time when I take my kids swimming, I go back home, I'm hardly able to walk. And it's because most of the time that I'm swimming, especially in the Roswell pool, I'm swimming at a depth of about 2.5 feet. Mm-hmm. So I'm duck walking or on my knees the entire time. And so it's really not doing my lower body any good whatsoever. So I digress.
Yeah, you should keep doing that because that's one of those things where your body's like, what are you doing to me?
You actually worked out a muscle group? What in the world are you thinking? So I'm a little bit worse for wear this morning, but alas, we trudge on one more time without Mixmaster Mike Winters. By the way, shout out to Mike, who's watching us on the chat. Feel free to chime in. Let us know whereabouts you guys are at on your journey back to Roswell, so as we can keep the folks out there informed. But hope you had a great weekend. Hope all the fathers out there felt fully celebrated. I got a new watch, as you can all see. I'm not wearing it right now, and the problem is I'm not used to wearing watches. I've never been a watch guy, but my friend got me
I was in school, and then I stopped.
Well, see, I was
when the phones came out.
When I right after college, and I started working at the Vision Center, I used to wear a metal band watch until about 2004. I developed this wart on my wrist that has never gone away. It's 22 years later. It's never gone away.
Ooh.
Yeah, actually, I think it's 20. That's 04 to 20 years.
It's about due time for it to come off,
disappear. But it's become a buddy of mine now. I've named him, given him a backstory. But it's a rubber banded e-watch. It actually a smartwatch connects to my phone. So I was playing around with it yesterday. It's a cool watch. I'm not used to wearing a watch, and my wrists gets really sweaty. Mm-hmm. So I've taken to using it like a pocket watch. I'll pull it out of my pocket every now and again, check the time, or connect to my phone with it. Mm-hmm. I did wear it for the brief moments that you want to do the whole have a conversation with somebody on your wrist. Oh. So I did do it for that. But the sound quality, it leaves a lot to be desired. We'll just leave it at that.
So they make watches now besides Apple that do that.
Yeah, the watch I got, it's $30, but it connects via Bluetooth and an app. But it's got a fitness tracker, a pedometer on it. It will keep track of if you're drinking, it'll keep track of how many beverages you've had, or I'm not sure how it does that. I guess it just reads how many times your hand does this thing.
Oh, okay.
But it's got other things like a heart rate and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But overall, it's a nice watch. I'm not a watch guy, so it really takes some getting used to wear that thing.
Yeah.
But
I had my game thing at the gaming lounge too.
Oh yeah.
This Friday.
That was on Friday. How'd that go?
This past Friday. It was better.
A couple more people starting to show up.
Yeah. Yeah, they're at the gaming lounge over there. It's Frost Giant Games. They moved to Main Street now.
At the old Rugged Trade building, right there across from. I always forget the name of the place because it used to be the Do It Center.
Oh, Foxworth
Galbraith. Yeah, it's right across from Foxworth Galbraith in that one building where the Rugged Trade used to be on Main Street. It's now Frost Giant Games and Lanes, and they are hosting the fighting games tournament that Roy's talking about every Friday. Is it every Friday or every other Friday?
Every other Friday.
Okay. So if you're a fan of fighting games, are you guys just playing Mortal Kombat, or do you guys vary a couple different games?
No, Street Fighter, Tekken.
Okay.
Killer Instinct.
Does it vary week by week which game you guys are using as a tournament? Because if you're playing a tournament, one would think you have to play the same game, right?
No, we haven't had any tournaments yet. Just just friendlies.
Oh, so it's a free for all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, same over there at Stellar too. I still have it there every other week too.
You know what we need to do? We need to build you a commercial similar to those. Get ready for fight night.
Yeah.
Every other Friday at Frost Games and Lanes. Fight night. We'll sell you the whole joystick, but you'll only need the stick. Baby! So come on out to Fight Night every other Friday at Frost Giant Games and Lanes. Not this Friday, but next Friday they'll be out there doing their thing.
Yes.
Yes, sir. But happy weekend to each and every one of you. Let me give you the rundown for this for today's program. We're going to start things off here in the 7 o'clock hour, around 7:22 or so. We're going to replay the interview that I had last week with Roswell Independent School District Art Sandoval, Coach Art Sandoval, the vice principal over there at Roswell High. I had a great conversation with him, talking about truancies and attendance issues, how the teams are getting ready for sports play for the upcoming fall season. So we'll replay that interview coming up here in just a few minutes. Coming up in the 8 o'clock hour, around 8:15 or so, we got Miss Elaine Mayfield, and she'll usually be bringing a special guest, talking up Roswell Galacticon, the Main Street Roswell Alien Fest, the stuff happening over at the Roswell Museum and not the Museum and Art Center, the Roswell UFO Museum and Research Center, all the stuff happening there at the Convention Center as well. We'll get into that coming up in the 8 o'clock hour. Then in the 9 o'clock hour, we'll be sitting down chatting with Bill Williams, Travis County Manager. Normally we have our conversations on Friday. He had to be out of town this past Friday, so we rescheduled for today. We'll be sitting down with him at around 9:15 or so, talking about how the commission meeting went and how things are looking as we head into summertime 2024 for Travis County. Plus your hourly features, which include your Kim Commando update, Lou Dobbs report, as well as Hand of the Update and anything else that comes our way on this Monday morning. 19 minutes after 7 o'clock, let's get you up to date with the weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Lots of heat coming up for the next few days. 104 to 107 on the afternoon high today. It will be a little bit breezy, especially in the afternoon hours. Wind at 15 to 20 miles an hour, and will stay sunny. Overnight will be clear, down to a low of about 70 and still pretty breezy. Around 105 for the afternoon high on Tuesday, and sunny. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 75 degrees around Roswell Way. Humidity is at 52%, with winds out of the southwest at around 3 miles per hour. Barometer at 29.77 inches with a dew point of 56 degrees. 108 for the high today. Yes, we're under a heat advisory. Yes, that heat advisory will last through at least tomorrow because, yes, we have slipped into the seventh circle of hell. 108 degrees, mostly sunny skies, and yeah, it's going to be a scorcher out there. Winds out of the south 10 to 15 miles an hour, increasing to between 15 to 20 later in the afternoon. For tonight, mostly clear, dropping down to only 70 degrees. Winds are going to be breezy out of the southwest 20 to 25, decreasing to between 10 and 15 after midnight. Sunny and hot, a high of around 105 for tomorrow. That heat advisory continues through tomorrow. Winds out of the south 10 to 15 miles an hour. For Tuesday night, mostly clear, 71 for the overnight low. Winds out of the south 15 to 20. For your Juneteenth, that's when things start to cool down just a little bit. Slight chance of showers in between noon and 3, then a chance of thunderstorms after 3. Sunny and hot, high of 97, so only double digits. Chance of precip is 20%. 30% chance of rain on Wednesday night, 70 for the overnight low. Then, get this, the first day of summer, the first official day of summer is Thursday. And on our first official day of summer, after dealing with 108, 105, heat advisories, dust storms, this is your forecast for the first day of summer. A 40% chance of showers and thunderstorms afternoon, mostly cloudy with a high of 83. 83 degrees for the high on Thursday, while it's 108 today. Yeah, that's a lot of numbers. 50% chance of showers and thunderstorms on Thursday night, mostly cloudy, dropping down to 68 for the overnight low. A 50% chance of rain continues through your Friday, mostly cloudy, with a very manageable 81 degrees. We're back to semi-summertime for your weekend. 20% chance of rain showers on Saturday, 90 for the high. 20% chance of rain on Sunday as well, 96 degrees for the high. 22 minutes after 7 o'clock on your Monday morning. Going to pause, pay a couple of these bills. Got your Roswell Livestock update with Smiley Wooten coming up here in just a minute. And after that, we'll have the interview with Art Sandoval, coach, on the other side of these on a morning without Mike Winters. Stay tuned.
Pull!
Shooters, mark your calendars for the H.F. Sinclair 3rd Annual Freedom Clay Shoot, July 12th and 13th at the Eddy County Shooting Range, benefiting the Artesia FFA. Main event is Saturday. Registration at 7 a.m. 1 in 4 participants win prizes, gun boards, raffles, and lunch included. There's an option Friday night light shoot with $40 individual rounds. Details and registration info at artesiachamber.com. Deadline is July 1st. The 3rd Annual H.F. Sinclair Freedom Clay Shoot, July 12th and 13th at the Eddy County Shooting Range.
A bedroom is a quiet escape where I go for peace and comfort. This is Melanie at Glenn's Furniture. I know how important the most private room in your home is for your life and the lives of your family. That's why we offer a selection of bedroom groups that make living easier and more comfortable. Modern designs, bold curves, and stylish fabrics elevate your bedroom space. You'll find your new set easy to sleep on and even easier to own. Come see us at Glenn's on the corner of Union and Alameda, where delivery is free since 1953.
When others say no, Roswell Hyundai says
yes.
The bank manager is at Roswell Hyundai for a short time to say
yes.
No social security number or ITIN number?
Yes.
No driver's license?
Yes.
It doesn't matter. Roswell Hyundai says
yes.
If you have a job that earns at least $12 an hour, Roswell Hyundai wants to say
yes.
Roswell Hyundai wants 100% approval, which means they want to say
yes
to you.
Yes.
Get zero down,
yes.
zero payments till fall,
yes.
plus up to $4,000 more for your trade.
Yes.
On now at the home of Roswell Hyundai, 1909 West 2nd.
Yes!
Good morning, this is Smiley Wooten at the Roswell Livestock Auction. A good June run with a nice selection of all classes of cattle, especially high-quality native calves, light yearlings with condition, pairs, bred cows. We expect to sell 1,000 head. Breaking down like this: 125, 150 weighing cows and bulls, 100, 125 pairs of bred cows, 750, 800 calves and yearlings. Today's sale will include 50 to 60 cow-calf pairs, mostly black, white face, and Charolais crosses with Angus calves at the side. Pairs 5 to 10 years old. 30 Corriente cows bred to black bulls to be preg checked Monday morning. These cows 4 to 8 years old. 98 calves Hendricks beef, Flying H, New Mexico. Excellent quality black Angus and Brangus crossbred calves, thin to medium condition, 400, 600 pounds. 90 calves Mayfield Ranch, Cornudas, Texas. Excellent quality black Angus and crossbred calves, light yearlings, thin condition, 375, 575 pounds. 57 yearlings, Mr. Don Young, Plains, Texas. Excellent quality black, white face, red, white face, crossbred yearlings. 2 rounds of shots, good flesh, right off short wheat, 600, 800 pounds. 31 calves, Mr. Jim Espy, Fort Davis, Texas. Excellent quality black, white face, Angus cross calves, Bow-Shield Gold, 7-way, 300, 500 pounds. 18 calves, the Barry Ranch, Fort Stockton, Texas. Excellent quality black, white face, red, white face, English crossbred calves. These calves are weaned, shots, 400, 500 pounds. Several sets of light calves, 250 to 350 pound weight range, and 30 to 35 babies in roping size calves. Sale time this morning will be 9 o'clock. Sell pairs of bred cows 9:45. Be selling calves and yearlings about 10:30. Fairly light on cows, so don't be late. Also, we will sell next Monday the 24th. Missed the sale of Monday the July the 1st. Be back selling Monday, July the 8th. We expect to sell 1,000 head here today. This is Smiley Wooten, Roswell Livestock Auction.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. China has more English speakers than the United States. They have more Chinese speakers, too. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning, 18 minutes after 8 o'clock. And joining us in studio on this Wednesday morning, the man who's filling in for Brian Luck, Coach Art Sandoval from the Roswell Independent School District. How are you doing today, Coach?
Good, Sean. How are you, sir?
Oh, doing good. It's been a hectic week. While Mike's off enjoying rum drinks on the 7 Seas, I'm manning the helm of 2 radio stations. So
yeah,
it's been fun, but plates are still spinning.
Absolutely, So, well, good morning to you, and glad to be here. Brian, superintendent of the Roswell Independent School District, is actually in Santa Fe, and so this is kind of one of the last minute things that asked to fill in for him, and I was happy to do so, and so we'll see what we can do to get this rolling.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have to necessarily. We could talk about, because your perspective is a little different. I mean, you're the vice principal. You've overseen a lot more of the student interaction side of things. So
sure.
Your perspective's a little different. Now we're obviously smack dab in the middle of the summertime season, but a big hot button issue with a lot of parents was we're starting August 1st this year.
Yeah,
that's that's pretty doggone quick.
Yeah, no, it really is, pretty quick. But the requirements, from the state of New Mexico is that they're requiring us to have more days, and I'm to the point of my perspective here is I'm to the point where I'm kind of leaning towards year-round school. I think that we might be more beneficial when it comes down to certain things like that. But I think eventually it's going to end up coming down to that situation. But just like right now, we're in the process of summer school. This is the second week already, and we have right about 12 days to take care of that stuff. And so we started enrollment with our counselors, and our counselors, not just at Roswell High School, but our counselors in the district they just do a really good job trying to get our kids enrolled in the classes that they need. And one of the things that we kind of do here at Roswell High School is we have a thing called Apex and the Roswell Independent School District, but we also have a thing called New Hope.
Okay.
And it's kind of that's when Pilar Carrasco was back as the principal, and he's done a good job with this and gave us new ideas. And that big old word, that C word, COVID, kind of gave us a way of thinking outside the box. And so in order to try to improve, first and foremost, help the kids be successful and improve graduation rates, try to get all that stuff taken care of, we actually have a thing called New Hope. And so what that entails is the New Hope is if a student has, for example, I'll use Sean. If Sean failed the class, Algebra 1, for example, what that is...
That tracks.
Our counselors, as I mentioned, do a good job, but, it's a lot of work. And I'm going to tell you, what they do is if they have a 50% or less than a 60%, like 59 or below to a 50%, then a kid is enrolled in the program, what is called New Hope. Okay. And so what happens with that is if you have a 50%, you have to have 10 days of summer school in order to obtain that credit. So in other words, you have to come 10 days and you have to participate and do the assignments in order to be successful and to gain that credit.
Okay.
So a point a day. If you had a 58%, then you come to class
2 days.
the 2 days, but you still have to participate and still not be a discipline problem.
Right.
So those are some of the things.
I actually kind of dig that as a program. I have a friend's daughter who she was looking at graduating, and again, she was one of the COVID classes, and it was real hard on all of them, But they eventually switched to a homeschool model, and the last 3 months were basically her just locked in a room completing assignments because she was 68 assignments behind.
Right.
It's one of those things when it was put in the kids' laps, the onus was on them to do their assignments. A lot of them just kind of let them pile up, and the back end is what where you pay for it. But I like the fact that we're kind of instituting summer school as come on a couple of days, we'll bump it up a couple percentages and get you the grade that you need.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it's a lot more complex than what it sounds.
Sure.
There's some rigorous stuff that some of the kids have to participate in and get those assignments done. Currently, I know at Roswell High School we have 10 instructors, and not only is it the New Hope program that was that we're trying, but it's also the program called Apex. Okay, and Apex, the Roswell Independent School District, is actually utilizing that program, and so it's a computer based. And so, we have to enroll the kids into the Apex program, and it's really a lot of work, not just for the counselors, but for the administrators.
Sure.
And then once you get all that in, so it's currently about less than 200 in summer school right now. But again, we've had some already drop out. I think it was less than 30. For whatever reason it was one of those things where you can't miss a day for whatever the reason is. You can't be tardy. This is a privilege for you to come and do summer school. And once again, it's for free.
Yeah.
And so, back in the day when America was America, you charged $80 to $100 per class. And, this is a chance for a student to obtain that credit. And, again, that program, you can work in the classroom. They're assigned to a certain teacher. And then at that point, they get in their Chromebooks and they work on specific assignments such as Algebra 1, Algebra 2, chemistry, or whatever that might be.
Right.
And so that's a real good program. And once they complete the program, then, they can actually stop at a 60%, or they can go as far as they need to for that specific class. Now,
so if they wanted to bump their grade up even a couple of grade levels, they could just continue the summer school program.
So as far as New Hope, now Apex, New Hope is a 60%. That's as far as they can actually go. But as far as the Apex courses, then they can improve their grade, because it's really a semester course is what they're taking. So they'll have to they can get anywhere from a 60 or above to make that part of their credit recovery classes.
Excellent.
Yes, sir.
That's because obviously we're with GPAs and everything being vital to college admissions and a lot more focus has been put on that lately, because now that we're dropping off a lot of the admissions to certain schools based on race and based on things like that. There's a lot more attention being put on how's your grades, how are your extracurriculars, are you keeping up with all this stuff? So
absolutely,
kids are hard at work getting those numbers up. So that's what it's all about.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Go ahead.
So let's talk sports, because I mean obviously you're the man, the voice of choice in southeastern Mexico when it comes to the sports here on KSVP.TV.com and of course across all of our Pecos Valley broadcasting stations. How are the prospects for this coming season?
As far as Roswell High School, I think it's good. And great question. I'm glad you brought that up. So one of the things that we do within Roswell Independent School District, and specifically, at Roswell High School, what we do is, we have spring sports going on right now. So we try to designate 2 months, June and July. So because we have at Roswell High, we would love to share athletes. I think it's important that we share athletes for the betterment of all programs. And so what we do is, spring sports such as baseball and softball, as I start end of January, early February, and then all of a sudden it's March. Yeah. And then all of a sudden it's April, and then the state playoffs come around. And so once that is complete, in my opinion, my perspective is that, a lot of people start getting their skills up to date right now. They're ready to go, Sure. And so what happens is we still want them to go ahead and participate. So in the month of June, we have baseball with, Coach Lujan and Rebecca Marujo doing softball. And then, of course, basketball, boys and girls with Dude Barola and, of course, Dr. Dan Smith or Coach Smith doing the month of June for basketball and for baseball and softball. And then, of course, in the month of July, what we do is then we start doing volleyball and then soccer and, the cross-country stuff. Now, I'm sure the question's going to be asked about football here in just a moment. Now, they're going to start next week. And now, with that being said, football is such a high-revenue sport. And so it's going to take a little bit more conditioning to get the strength and conditioning, for their necks and their backs and trying to get that. It's really going to be more weights and conditioning more than anything. And
absolutely. So a lot of time in the gym where the air conditioner is, that's going to be vital. A lot of hydration, kids. This is going to be a brutal summer.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember, and I was a band kid. Right. So our 2-a-days were band camp, and our band camp stories. I just remember putting a 30-pound tuba on, going out to the marching field in 108-degree weather. I'm like, you guys are trying to kill us, and all they cared about was how high our toes were. It's ridiculous. But so 2 days starting next week.
Not 2 days.
Okay, just training.
Just going to start with weight training and conditioning. So. Now, one of the things that you probably understand this, but if the community does not understand, once you get to 104, heat index, then we can't do any activity, outside activity. Right. You can do some weights inside and stuff like that, but we got to be real cautious about that. Make sure we're hydrating and doing everything we can to make sure that we're staying in compliance and making sure, most importantly, that we're taking precautions and making sure that all athletes are safe.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's the most important thing, is that we want these athletes to perform at their peak performance, but they have to be healthy. They have to be hydrated. That's all these things are absolutely vital. So it sounds like you guys are hard at work and split off into so many different subsections. It's kind of crazy how the tentacles of the octopus work in the sports world.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, sir. So speaking, let's get away from sports for just a minute. Sure. I want to really talk about something that I think it's a district thing that it might be really important that we communicate with is, I think the district in a whole really wants to improve our, course graduation rates. But at the same time, most importantly, I think the district and the state of New Mexico are really trying to focus on absenteeism. And I think that's something that we really need to, try to focus and try to get maybe, some of our stakeholders involved and try to see what we can do to, increase our graduation rates, but most importantly, our attendance.
Absolutely. And I think that when you look at COVID, a lot of interesting things came out of it. A lot of good came out of it. A lot of bad came out of it. One of the funnier comments I've actually heard is somebody said, basically COVID ruined snow days for kids. Because now you just do school from home. So no more snow days. But it also kind of gave kids a lot more leeway with, well, I can just do a couple of assignments a day and call it good. And it sort of loosened the belt a little bit.
Right.
And I think that maybe now it's kind of time to start tightening it a little bit back.
Yeah, and that's a great great comment right there, and that's something that we do have to start tighten the ropes a little bit, and and I was a lot of people might think I'm crazy by saying going to year-round school, but Las Cruces school district's already doing it. Some Albuquerque schools are already doing it, and it's just a matter of time when my opinion, that eventually the Roswell Independent School District could eventually go to that,
Sure.
And I think it might be good. But, one of the things with the absenteeism is that, you use the word COVID again. And, we got to kind of get away from that
Right.
and start saying, hey, listen, this is something that we really want to, get away from. And we're going to hold kids accountable. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. But, one of the things, Sean, and you understand this, you do radio all the time, but one of the things that we have to, start being real careful with is we got to get down to the root cause of why kids are either tardy or being absent, whatever it is, because, sometimes, I'm going to be real honest with you, sometimes it's not their fault.
Right.
And we got to be real careful.
Yeah.
It could be, we don't know what they did the night before. We don't know. I deal with kids on a daily basis. I deal with situations with, kids' parents coming in for whatever reason is, and I don't want to say excuses. I'm not saying that because
Sure.
Parents are a vital part of this organization as well, too. And 100%. One of the things that we have to be careful with is we don't know what parents are going through either.
Right.
So, a lot of the times, I hear this all the time with teachers. Well, how come you didn't suspend John Doe? How come you're doing this? Why? Well, let me tell you why. Because when we're investigating and we're trying to figure out why we're doing the things that we're doing, some of these teachers, and they're on a need-to-know basis. And there's a lot of things we got to be careful with as far as HIPAA and FERPA. And we, not that I would love to tell them, but I think teachers in general really need to make sure that they're trusting us to make the right decisions.
I think so often it becomes teacher versus parent, and or more specifically parent versus teacher, and they feel like they have to stand up for their kids. One of the best experiences I've ever had with the education system is with my daughter. Because with Rhiannon, we had her in a program where she was getting regular IEPs. She attended Del Norte. They have a specialized classroom. We're actually transitioning her into Sierra, which has a similar setup with the concurrent classrooms. Her teachers and her team, we've always worked side by side. It's vital. It is vital for parents to work with the teachers, to work
Sure.
with their counselors. For the student to succeed, everybody has to work together.
Oh, you're exactly right.
And it's this combative nature that parents seem to always have against their kid's teacher. It's if we come together, we can come up with a lot more solutions to the problem.
Yeah. So another thing that I would like to mention about the absenteeism is this. A lot of teachers may or may not understand, because you can't suspend for absenteeism. You can't do it. Now you can drop a kid at 10 days. Okay, but the gist of it is on the 11th day, if they want to come back, we enroll. And so, there's state statute, it's called the Attendance for Success Act. And, it's that 22-12-2. It's that ordinance, or not the ordinance, but the state code that, talks about that Attendance Act.
Sure.
And so, if a kid wants to come back to school, then we're gonna take that kid,
Now it's 10 absences.
So it's 10. Great. I'm glad you caught that. It's 10 consecutive absences.
Consecutive. That was my next.
It's 10 consecutive absences.
Gotcha.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And that's definitely a significant amount of time, especially if it's unexcused. If you have a family emergency, if you're taken out of town, that's completely understandable.
Right.
Call the students in.
Right.
That being said, I understand there's a lot of students that have to get processed. Sometimes, like for example, I would when I need to call Rhiannon into Del Norte, I would then get the robocall at 9 a.m. saying your student was marked absent, and I would then call the school and say, oh, it was just a mistake. The robocall goes out before we get to the attendance. So it's another one of those things where it's a simple misunderstanding. Parents, if you just call the school, talk to the folks up there, they can clear a lot of that stuff up for you.
Yeah, it really is, and that's exactly right. Just a simple phone call. Come in, give us a visit, and if they're excused, then that's all that matters. again, we don't know what happened the night before with some of these kids, and simple conversation and communication with the instructors and or the administrators, or even with our school resource officers. They're a great resource for us to communicate, and so that's something that we really utilize a lot with our school district.
Absolutely.
And back in the day, we used to have, and we still do this to a point, and I think it needs to improve, in my opinion. But we used to, Judge Freddie Romero we used to have that thing called the teen court. And that was at first very, very successful, and Judge Romero was awesome. He did such a fantastic job with that, and he volunteered his time, and we kind of got away from that because some of the parents and students, and I don't want to say manipulated, but they caught on, and they understood that there was not really, it's real hard to actually prosecute anybody for attendance these days.
Sure.
And so, we do still do the 3 and the 5 day letters, and we try to do everything we can. I know at our school, what we try to do is there's not a specific administrators designated for attendance anymore. What we try to do over there is we try to have an attendance clerk with, Miss Aguilar, who does a fantastic job. It's a full-time job. And, I'm probably going to say the same thing for all traditional high schools, including university and early college. I think they do a great job with that as well. But we have to make that attempt.
Right.
We have to make that attempt to say, listen, we tried to get Sean here at school on day 3. We try to get him here on day 5 and day 7. And then what we usually do is if we find out that we have to communicate with either, somebody higher or, law enforcement to, do a welfare check or CYFD or do something of that sort.
Sure.
Then we can do that. But again,
if you're not hearing from a student within 10 days, something wrong.
Right.
That's when that needs to be investigated.
That's exactly right. And so when we turn that information in, then it goes to like a CYFD referral,
Sure.
and they can conduct their investigation. And if they can get them back in school, that's all we really want here, in my opinion. And, kids in school, they can't learn.
Exactly.
And if you can't learn, then guess what? We're not doing our job as educators. And that's something that we really need to focus on. We really need to do, in my opinion, a better job of trying to get people here. Now, the resources, there's law enforcement that can only do so much. They can't, I guess they could, but it's real hard because they're law enforcement officers. They can't just go and knock on a door and say, you know what, let's drag you out. They can't do that.
And hands are tied, also with situations involving minors. There's a lot of ropes you have to navigate through.
Yeah, absolutely. And so,
but yeah, so absolutely, measures are being put in place or are in place to get attendance up. But parents, this is one of those situations where just communicate with the school. Let them know if there's a situation going on at home. The school's not here to drop down an iron fist on you. They just want they just want your kids in school so that we can fill their brains with knowledge and get them started off on the right foot.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. I do have a few notes here that like I said, I'm not too proficient with, but
Sure.
I think some of the direction of the district. I think the district, as we mentioned, we need community help in reducing the chronic absenteeism, as we talked about. It's not just here in Roswell or the state of New Mexico; it's nationwide. But we really need to do a better job of that. Also, the district is also developing projects in which students can gain real life experience and earn graduation credits. I'm learning about that a little bit more. I think it's a great idea, working on developing evening classes for credit recovery. So again, that's going to be, we talked about the Apex classes. That is my understanding as of right now, that's how the district is going to lean forward to going to the night classes.
Okay.
Because, again, sometimes school is not for everybody. And I can talk all day, as you know, Sean, but one of the things is this, and you start talking about CTE programs and you start doing different things with that sort. But, as far as developing the classes for credit, I think that's a great idea.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, it's my understanding that the districts they're developing student internships, which are connected to the 30-plus career pathways that the district has, including industries, businesses that are interested in student interns. If they have any questions about that, they need to be contacting, Mr. Luck's office and, the assistant superintendent of instruction. You can talk to Jennifer Cole, Brian Luck, anybody over there at that central location. I think is something that that if you have any questions, go ahead and talk with them over there. And that's something that's great.
And that's a great program too, because it instills work ethic in the kids. It lets them know kind of what's out there as far as like opportunities and chances to advance, and it gets your foot in the door with a lot of great people, a lot of great industries. So
absolutely. So
that's fantastic. So if folks want more information, if they heard something interesting in this conversation, or they need to know more about absenteeism, how do they reach out to you?
So the best source is, I think you need to be specific with the school. If they have any kind of questions about absenteeism or, any questions about, credits or anything like that, go to the specific school. Go to, if you have a question about Roswell High School, go to that school first. Go to, get down to the root cause so we can figure out how to approach this before we go, and try to, a lot of people, if they have a complaint, they want to go straight to the superintendent or go straight to the athletic director. Well, again, there's a chain of command. And so I think, if anything, you got to start from the bottom. And, one of the things that you need to do is start at that school. If it's Roswell, if it's Goddard, University High, early college, Mesa Middle School, whatever it might be. Start with that school, talk with the administrator, and, maybe come up with a plan. That way we can try to, develop, because they might have a legit, reason why they're being absent. Sure. I mean, there could be an illness. There could be somebody on a on IEP. There might be, students with disabilities. There might be something that we can work with.
Sure.
And so start out with the school. If we can't answer it, then, of course, then you can start at the next level. And, you're more than welcome to always call central office. That's not the problem at all. But I think one of the best things you possibly could do is do it the right way and start out with the school district.
Absolutely. And I will say this, if you're taking the proactive steps to find out how to fix the problem, you're already doing a better job than a lot of, parents out there who just complain.
Right.
So if you're taking these proactive steps, they're going to meet you. Your effort will be met. The school will help you. The school will work with you. And just from my own perspective, I've talked to so many parents that, complain and whine and moan about how bad their experience is with their teachers or with their team or whatever. And I've never had a bad experience. I've had nothing but positive experiences working with my daughter's teachers, with her team, with Miss Robin. It was always a seamless process. So the best way to make sure your student succeeds is to be involved as a parent. That's really all it comes down to.
No, absolutely. I think, as a parent, you always have to be involved. And it doesn't start just in elementary school. It goes from this point forward, even in college.
Tell me about it.
You know what I mean? You really got to do some, be a parent that's going to be supportive and do everything you possibly can. And
I'm trying, man. And we messed up because we got one going straight into middle school and we got one going right into elementary school. So they're like bridging over the River Kwai or whatever. But it's it's definitely one of those, you have to be, it's a full-time job. You have to be involved. You have to pay attention. Talk to the teachers. I have, I text my daughter's teacher on the regular if she has a bad day or, is missing an assignment. These things need to be communicated.
Sure.
Simple as that. So
absolutely.
Get involved, parents. That's what's going to, help the whole process.
Yep, absolutely. So,
well, thank you, sir. Appreciate your time. I know you got interviews to get to and whatnot.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We have a full day ahead of us over at Roswell High School. And, of course, the Roswell Independent School District are doing the same thing all over the district. And, whatever we can do to help. If they have any questions, once again, just talk to, your prospective school, whatever it is, elementary, middle school, high school. And if there's anything that we can't do, you're more welcome to reach out to central location and communicate with the uppers.
Yes. 637-3305, if I'm not mistaken.
637-2500.
2500
is the school district.
Now,
yes, sir.
I do want to let you know, just as a side note.
Okay.
And I don't know if this is everybody, but when I get a robocall from the school, it comes up as a spam risk.
Okay.
Just want to throw that out there. I'm not sure if there's anything anybody can do about that, but I'm like, and then I recognize the number. I'm like, okay.
You know what? I'm glad you said that. I don't know. I didn't know that. And so, maybe for the people that are listening out there, and even if Mr. Luck, I know he's in Santa Fe, and once he listens to this, I'm sure we can give him the notes on that as well. But I'm glad you said that. We can try to work on that. One thing that I've also wanted, before we close on this, is, the Power School, that every kid and parent have that opportunity to see what we see on our end. So if you as a parent, and you might have this already, Sean, if not, then I highly suggest you get this for your kids. You can go to your school and, talk to, the front office, and you can get a Power School access. And then that way you can find out exactly what your students' grades, your attendance, any, discipline issues, or any of that sort there too. I think it's important that you try to get that. And I encourage the public, I encourage everybody possible to get that. Of course, you have to be the legal guardian.
Sure.
And making sure that you, get that access there. But you can get on your cell phone. You can look at your grades. You can look at the attendance and say, oh, well, hold on just a minute. One of the things too, and they're talking about, well, there's a kid that might have 100 cumulative absences, and a lot of people don't understand what that means. It's when you have an 8-period day or a 4-period day, which is an 8B block, then you have, like, if you're absent one day, then the full day, then you have 4 absences.
Right.
So then it accumulates, and so a lot of parents don't understand that. So if they have questions about that, they need to let us know. Right. But once again, I think that's something that I try to encourage every parent with that as well. So
block scheduling still, man, that was the bane of my existence in
block
in
or
high
AB.
school.
Yeah, it's
I will say
else,
this:
so.
I always loved having B lunch because you can go have seconds. That was my favorite part because they had to get rid of the food after B lunch. So you get seconds.
So,
I mean, it may be the man I am today.
Sure.
So there you go, folks. Parents, reach out if you have any questions. Central office, they can answer any questions. Obviously, once the schools kind of get back underway in session, you can get a hold of the school system and find out more information that way. Coach, thank you so much for your time.
Yes, sir. Thank
Appreciate
you, Sean.
having you here.
Have a great day.
Absolutely. You too.
Thank you.
16 minutes away from 9 o'clock. Let us get you up to date.
Time the dog was taken, it was not known that it had the virus. After the dog began to show symptoms, it was tested by a veterinarian and found to be positive for distemper. Distemper is a virus that can spread among dogs but cannot be passed on to humans. The closure could last up to 3 weeks in order to thoroughly clean the facility and ensure that the animals are monitored for a sufficient period of time. Only emergency cases will be allowed into the shelter during this time. All dog pets should be vaccinated against distemper and parvo. One of Artesia's busiest streets is due for a major facelift. Smith Engineering has been awarded the contract for the rebuilding of 26th Street from West Main to West Hermosa Drive. Construction is expected to last about a year and a half and includes the installation of new sidewalks and walking paths, sewer and water lines, and curbs and gutters. The project is expected to begin by the end of this summer and will run in 5 separate phases. Phase 1 will begin from Main Street to just north of Grand Avenue. You're up to date. I'm Jared Sorello.
You're checking your phone when suddenly it stops working. No calls in or out. You call your carrier, and that's when the panic sets in. Your number moved to a new phone. I'm Kim Commando for StartMail. Want a safer and cleaner email experience? Go to startmail.com/Kim for a 7-day free trial and 60% off your first year. How could this happen to your phone? You didn't get a new one. You're a victim of something called SIM swapping. Scammers get your name and other personal details, including your phone number. Then they sweet-talk your carrier to switch your number to their phone, and then they've got control. With access to your texts, they can easily bypass two-factor authentication to get right into your bank account. Don't let these jerks get you. Set a PIN using your carrier's app. Open the app and dig into your account settings and find the option to change your account PIN or password. Punch in a secure PIN. So now, if anyone tries to mess with your account, they'll need that PIN. Join 509,000 people who get my free newsletter. Sign up at getkim.com. Big tech is taking over everything, and that includes your email too. They're constantly trying to track us and what we see in our inboxes. The good news is that you can take back control if you know about the right tools. StartMail is the easy-to-use alternative to big tech email. It was built entirely with your privacy in mind and includes features like unlimited disposable email aliases. You can use them for anything, from selling stuff online to accessing coupon codes. Worried about moving from the account that you've had forever? Don't be. StartMail's email and contact migration tool makes switching email providers simple. With just a few clicks, you can transfer all of your important info to your new StartMail account. Protect your email from advertisers, government surveillance, and spam right now. Go to startmail.com/Kim for a 7-day free trial and 50% off your first year. Now, including a business plan. StartMail with a T. That's startmail.com/Kim. You need to check this out right now. Startmail.com/Kim. Startmail.com/Kim.
With the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander. The U.S. Federal Aviation Administration is investigating whether false or incorrect documents were used to verify the authenticity of titanium used in some recently manufactured Boeing jets. Aircraft manufacturers are facing strong demand for new planes due to a surge in post-pandemic travel. However, supply chain problems and component shortages are limiting their ability to meet this demand. A potential class action lawsuit from a pair of employees alleges Apple systematically underpaid women compared to their male counterparts. The suit argues the tech giant's hiring practices and performance review system both lead to women being paid less than men for the same work. The record high prices the world is seeing for orange juice may be on the table for some time. This year's harvest in Brazil, the world's largest exporter of orange juice, is likely to be the worst in 36 years due to flooding and drought. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander in Washington.
Cash for Junkers is back at Roswell Honda, and that means if you can push it, pull it, or drag it to Roswell Honda, it's worth up to $3,000 towards your next vehicle. And with a lot chock full of beautiful new and pre-owned vehicles to choose from, your old busted could be the key to your new hotness. And push, pull, and drag your family to Roswell Honda Saturday, June 22nd from 10 to 1 for free hot dogs and drinks, stuff for the kids, and your chance to win a $400 Visa gift card. Cash for Junkers on now at Roswell Honda, 2177 West 2nd.
Maybe your AC unit needs a little tender loving care. If you don't know where to turn, then you don't know Jack. In fact, they're downright funky. Let the boys at Fergie's Plumbing and Heating get your AC unit ice cold, just like some of my lady friends. Don't let any fool make you lose your cool. Fergie's Plumbing and Heating. If you don't know Fergie, then you don't know Jack. 632-2660.
The 2024 UFO Festival, Roswell, New Mexico. Explore, engage, and encounter the extraordinary. Check out the Galacticon, celebrity artists, UFOologists, a cosplay costume contest with cash prizes, escape rooms, and the incredible Galactic Water Park and Playground. Music, entertainment, the Roswell Incident, and Downtown Alien Fest. The Roswell UFO Festival, July 5th through the 7th, where the unexpected becomes the unforgettable. Paid for in part by City of Roswell Lodgers Tax.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. 47.2% of all statistics are made up on the spot. Is this true? I'd say chances are about 50%. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. We are closing in on 8 o'clock. Stay tuned. Next hour, we'll be chit-chatting with Miss Elaine Mayfield, chatting about Roswell Galacticon and the associated festivals that are going on the same weekend. It's going to be a busy one around Roswell way. We're going to give you all the info that you need to know about Galacticon, all the stuff happening on Main Street, the Galactic Water Park, all the escape rooms, and all the fun stuff waiting for you this Galacticon weekend coming up in just a couple of weeks. That's coming up here in the 8 o'clock hour on a morning without Mike Winters on 106.5 KEND, Roswell, New Mexico. So stay tuned, why don't you?
Clyde Lewis and Ground Zero is now in Roswell on 106.5 FM, KEND, Roswell.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Greg Clugston in Washington. Get ready for an early blast of summer heat. National Weather Service meteorologist Andrew Orison says a heat wave will grip major parts of the country this week.
In the southwest, the temperatures are certainly going to be in the triple digits down through there as we go through the week. And even areas of the Midwest, and especially going into parts of the Northeast here, are going to be looking at temperatures well into the 90s. A few locations could even be locally approaching 100 degrees.
And with the humidity, he says, the heat index will be even higher. In the west, fire crews are battling a blaze in mountains north of Los Angeles. It's L.A. County's first major wildfire of the year. Kenichi Haskett is with L.A. County Fire.
It has doubled in size. We had very strong gusts and winds. Some of the gusts, ridge tops, were reaching over 50 miles an hour. So that the wind out of the north pushed the fire south towards Lake Pyramid.
Officials have warned nearby residents to be prepared to leave. The Biden campaign is starting to focus on Donald Trump's New York felony conviction. Joe Biden's re-election campaign has launched a new ad focusing on the first-ever presidential conviction. It's a push to make Trump's legal problems an election year issue. The advertising blitz comes ahead of the first presidential debate in Atlanta next week. Trump's campaign says the contrast between the two candidates will be very clear on the debate stage. Maryland Governor Wes Moore is scheduled to sign an executive order today issuing 175,000 pardons for low-level marijuana convictions. It's a move that will affect an estimated 100,000 people. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Here's an important message from the Diabetes Solution Center. Do you like pricking your fingers to test your blood sugar levels? No one does, but it's important to maintain your health. And now, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you don't need to prick your fingers anymore. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now. And if you have Medicare or most major insurance coverage, you may be able to get a new CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost. Shipping is free, and we'll even bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now to learn how to end the painful finger sticks and get your own continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
Correspondent Julie Walker reports on a lawsuit filed over the hot tub death of an American in Mexico.
A Texas woman on vacation with her husband at a Mexico resort when they were electrocuted in the hot tub and he died is suing. Lizette Zambrano is seeking $1 million in damages. They were at the Sonoran Sea Resort when her husband started to enter the hot tub and was zapped by an electric current rippling through the water. He went under. She tried to save him, according to the lawsuit. Mexican prosecutors say investigators are looking into the origin of the electrical failure. Hot tub electrocution due to faulty underwater lighting and flawed pumps remains rare. Experts warn vigilance is needed to ensure equipment is properly maintained. I'm Julie Walker.
Stocks are lower in early trading. News and analysis at townhall.com. I'm Greg Clugston. In a campaign push, it's not what British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak wants to hear.
The country's economy failed to grow in April. It's a blow to Mr. Sunak, who has made the return of growth a central pillar of the Conservative Party's election campaign. The UK's Office for National Statistics says wet weather dampened consumer spending and construction during the month. The flat monthly reading came after a 0.6% increase during the first quarter of the year.
Correspondent Jeremy House reporting. China's central bank kept a key lending rate unchanged today, choosing not to loosen credit as data for May showed signs of persisting weakness in the world's number 2 economy's manufacturing and real estate sectors. The government reported that factory output fell 5.5% in May from the year before. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The travel said, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning, one and all. 6 minutes after 8 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 2 of A Morning Without Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Happy Monday. I just got to ask because I glanced over to Video Village, which is, yes, what I'm choosing to call it today. And I saw, because I was just kind of curious how it lined up with what I was seeing on the screen. And it looks like Roy was watching a video for Cannibal Corpse or something. It was just a lot of flashes, and then something came on with a mask on it. And I'm like, this is the weirdest version of my show I've ever seen in my whole life.
No, it was just a video game.
Oh, because I was like, what music video is that for?
It's actually a Sonic game, believe it or not.
Dude, I stumbled on something last night.
We get pretty crazy sometimes.
I stumbled on something last night that I haven't watched in so long, and it's sort of part of the formative years of my adolescence that I watched this show. But it's available free, or it's available on Paramount Plus. So if you have Paramount Plus, you can find it. The show is called Wonder Chosen. You ever heard of it?
I have.
It's basically a kid's show, but it's very, very, very much not a kid's show.
Right.
It's a puppet-based show, but they even warn you at the beginning. It says Wonder Chosen features disturbing imagery. It says it is not for children of any nature, and it says if you allow your children to watch Wonder Chosen, you are a bad parent. And I 100% agree. Like, I forgot how bad this show is. I mean, it's great. Don't get me wrong. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
But boy, does it push boundaries.
Well, yeah, it's like an Adult Swim show, right?
Oh, man. Well, the company that made it is PFFR. If you're not familiar with them, they are also responsible for shows like Xander Renegade Angel, which was on Adult Swim.
Oh.
That's that weird clippy show where the guy has a snake for a hand.
It's like that 3D model show.
They did that show, The Heart She Holler, which was like, it had Patton Oswalt in it. It was all about like some family that was like completely inbred. Basically, the people behind the production company are just some weirdos. But I watched the first episode, and the letter N is sad and lonely because nobody needs her. And then she disappears, and they put a private investigator on it, which the private investigator is the letter S. And he's a suave guy with an accent. And he's like, not only will I find her, I'll get her. And so then N is found by S. S ends up seducing N. And there is and I mean like a full, had to be a minute long graphic scene in which S was showing his affection, so to speak, to the letter N.
Our audience is so confused
They're
right
very
now.
confused. N gets pregnant and produces an I, so thusly they're living in sin. Yeah, it's real bad. It's really, really bad. But I got looped in, and I wound up watching like an entire season of this show. For those who, the one thing they kind of got famous for was the little puppet character that was running, that was like chasing people on the street. The one I watched last night was he found people running in the park, and he chased after them with a puppet going, "What are you running away from? What are you running away from?" And I, to this day, will do that if I see people running on the street. I'll roll my window down and be like, "What are you running away from?" And sometimes they have an answer. My problems, being fat, or my wife. You never know what's going to happen. It's a real mixed bag of emotions you find out there.
Again, our audience is so confused.
Oh,
right
very
now.
much, very much. That's okay because this is me time right now. But if you get a chance, Paramount Plus Wonder Chosen, tell the kids to leave the room and check out a couple episodes because it's.
Oh, is that an MTV show or?
It was on MTV2, if I remember correctly.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. It was one of those shows that aired like at 11 p.m. on MTV2. After like 12 hours of ridiculousness, they would run one episode of Wonder Chosen.
Right.
It was a tough sell. But I digress. Happy Monday to you. Hopefully your weekend went smoothly. Hopefully all the dads out there felt super appreciated. I personally don't have a father currently to wish Father's Day to, so I did the happy Heavenly Father's Day thing. But I did make the joke a couple of years ago. It's like, yeah, I'm off the hook now. I don't got to like buy a tie or a mug or body spray or anything. I'm off the hook.
Right.
But then again, there are a lot of dads in my life and in my world that are awesome. Not necessarily dads for me, but people who have been father figures types to like my kids and, you know, good dads to their kids. So I salute all of the good dads out there. It was really cool actually being at the pool yesterday. There were a lot of dads out. So a lot of dads chose to spend their special day, you know, spending time with their kids out at the pool, which I appreciated. Or I assume they were with their kids. Maybe they were doing what we were doing and playing hooky from their children and just going swimming on their own.
Yeah.
Either way. You are going to want to find a pool, a splash pad, an errant sprinkler, something to cool you down today, because if you're going to be out and about in it, it is going to be hell. 108 degrees for the high. You could tell it's going to be a hot day when like we're in an air-conditioned comfortable building.
Yeah.
But about midday, this whole building starts getting just humid. It's like everything just gets a little sweaty, around here, even inside the air-conditioned building. I mean, and that's when the dread sits in. You're like, if it feels like this in here, what's it going to be like out there?
Yeah. It's hot.
It's hot. Please exercise caution. Don't be out in it if you don't got to be out in it. Find shade whenever possible. Luckily, we do live in a place where it is a dry heat, so it's, shade actually does work. If you were in like Oklahoma, that wouldn't work out so well for you. Stay hydrated. Keep your electrolytes up. So salts, get some Gatorade up in you, because you're going to lose a lot of that in the sweat. So hydrate, and take in those salts.
Go ahead. I just saw an ad the last night. It was like some girl just going, milk hydrates better than water. Milk hydrates better than water. I was like, does it?
Now, I have heard studies say that milk does hydrate better than water. That being said, go on a mile run and then try to hydrate with some milk. You are going to be sick to your stomach immediately after. Guaranteed. Because you're putting all that heavy dairy on your stomach. Yeah, it probably hydrates you better, but it also, weighs you down.
I don't know. Have you tried it?
No, I subscribe to the Anchorman school of thought that milk was a bad choice. Can be a very bad choice. But yeah, if you're going to be out there, please stay hydrated, stay cool. I will say this. There are folks who aren't necessarily given the freedoms to stay cool and out of the sun, folks who are out on the streets, folks who are struggling. And we want to make sure we help those folks. So the fine ladies and gentlemen over at the Gonzales Hope Center, they're putting together blessing bags for the folks who are in need in our area. So if you can make any of these donations, it would be absolutely appreciated. You can drop them off at the center right there over on East 3rd behind 3rd Street Station, or you can contact Ms. Jocelyn and she can arrange for pickup of any of these items. But they're in desperate need right now of reusable water bottles, especially the reusable ones, because those can just be refilled. Bottled water is also a big need, as is deodorant, sunscreen, SPF lip balms, Band-Aids, feminine care products, mints, and body wipes, little fans, cooling towels, shampoos and shavers, socks, underwear, toothbrushes, and toothpaste, non-perishable snacks, sun hats, umbrellas, and sunglasses would all be appreciated. Again, drop those off at the Gonzales Hope Center behind what used to be 3rd Street Station, or contact Ms. Jocelyn at 575-208-9509. That's 575-208-9509 to make a donation.
I feel like if I was homeless, I would probably just take a bus to up north, or like a plane up to like the northern area, like Oregon, New York, Canada.
It does seem like this would be a rough place.
Because you don't have a home.
Yeah, this would be a rough place to be, dehomed and to have that happen. Now, I understand.
There's nothing tying you here.
That can't necessarily work for some people. Some people have ties here. Some people have connections here.
Yeah.
And you can't always just necessarily leave. That being said, I would say, if at all possible, find cooler climes during this time of year. Although, according to the news we just played, the heat wave is pretty much the entirety of the Midwest. It's even sweeping up to the Pacific Northwest, where they're talking about 90s and possibly even triple digits up there, where they don't have regular ACs and they have a lot of humidity too. So that's a dangerous combination. But I like what you think. You're like, go north, young man, go north.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're a nomad, I would just, that's how I think anyway. If I was a nomad, I would just go to Alaska or something during the summer.
You got the money to go to Alaska? 'Cause I don't. And I'm a working man. How does that tell you?
Grab a guitar, play some guitar, and beg until you get there.
See,
for bus money.
Right there, Roy he's the resourceful man. He's going to troubadour his way to the Pacific Northwest. Well, I wish you luck, good sir. You got to learn how to play guitar first. That might help. Let me give you the rundown for this hour of the program. Coming up here in just a few minutes, we're going to be sitting down chatting with Miss Elaine Mayfield all about Roswell Galacticon and the festivities that are going to be happening in and around Roswell in just a couple of weeks. It's going to be a lot of fun and a lot to do. So we'll talk about that coming up here in just a few minutes on this Monday morning. Plus your hourly features, which include your Lou Dobbs business report and whatever else comes our way on this Monday morning. Right now at 17 minutes after 8 o'clock, let us get you up to date with the weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Lots of heat coming up for the next few days. 104 to 107 on the afternoon high today. It will be a little bit breezy, especially in the afternoon hours. Wind at 15 to 20 miles an hour, and will stay sunny. Overnight will be clear, down to a low of about 70 and still pretty breezy. Around 105 for the afternoon high on Tuesday, and sunny. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently, it is, let me get this refreshed over here. Currently 80 degrees around Roswell Way. Humidity is at 42%. Winds out of the south at around 14 miles an hour. The barometer at 29.78 inches with a dew point of 55 degrees. You could see for miles and miles on this clearly hot Monday morning. We are under a heat advisory through tomorrow evening, at least during daytime hours. Mostly sunny, hot, 108 for the high today. Winds out of the south 10 to 15 miles an hour, increasing between 15 and 20 as the day goes on. Boy, my voice is starting to go on me. Mostly clear, 70 for the overnight low. For your Tuesday, sunny skies and hot, 105 for the high. For your Juneteenth, we're looking at a slight chance for rain, 97 for the high on Juneteenth. And then we enter the official start of summer and cooler climes too. 50% chance of rain on Thursday, 83 for the high for your first day of summer. 81 and a 50% chance of rain for your Friday. 20% chance of rain on Saturday with 90 for the high. Same 20% on Sunday. 96 degrees for the high on Sunday. I'm going to try to find some hot tea and lemon and rest my voice for about 2 minutes. And coming up on the other side of these, we'll be chit-chatting with Miss Elaine Mayfield all about Galacticon 2024 on a morning without Mike Winters. Stay tuned.
Attention Roswell and surrounding areas. Is your old car, truck, or SUV on life support? Clear. With new management and a whole new attitude, Roswell Ford makes trading up to a new Ford or quality pre-owned vehicle fast, fun, and easy. Upside down in your loan or stuck in your lease? Roswell Ford wants to get you released even if you owe thousands more than your trade is worth, regardless of make, miles, or condition. Right now, get huge savings with rates as low as 0% for 66 months and no payments until Labor Day. Plus, we have a great selection of low-mileage, one-owner pre-owned vehicles, all in prime condition, starting at just $10,000. Don't settle for a low-quality, overpriced clunker. Buy a quality pre-owned vehicle from Roswell Ford for a lot less. Worried about your credit? Don't sweat it. We've partnered with the most aggressive lenders that will push to approve you today, even with bad or no credit. Lower prices, exceptional trade-in values, and a better buying experience. Get on board at Roswell Ford, 821 North Main Street in beautiful Roswell, or online at roswellford.com. $1,515 per thousand finance on select new Ford models with approved credit.
Calling all men. June is Men's Health Month, and Artesia General Hospital wants you to step up and take care of your health. Every year, thousands of men in the U.S. die from preventable diseases. Take control of your health today and schedule a visit before something is wrong. Artesia General Hospital has specialists in a variety of men's health disciplines, but your primary care provider is the best place to start. Take your health seriously for yourself and for your loved ones. Visit artesiageneral.com/men's health or call 575-746-3119.
Your favorite time of year is here. Time to get the pool ready. And Mays Lumber in Roswell is your BioGuard headquarters. They have regular chlorine, including pool generators, and Soft Swim by BioGuard for your non-chlorine products. Prepare and maintain your pool for summer the right way for a full season of smiles instead of headaches. Get your pool ready for summer with Mays Lumber, 115 South Virginia in Roswell.
You can count on Mays Lumber Company.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. Did you know you share your birthday with at least 9 million other people in the world? Your birthday isn't feeling so special now, is it? Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning, 21 minutes after 8 o'clock. And joining me in studio this morning from Roswell Galacticon, Miss Elaine Mayfield. And from the Roswell Daily Record, Mr. Toby Martinez. How are y'all doing this morning?
Doing great.
Good. Everybody wants cheap airfare.
But where do you find it? The end of the long marathon that was Mike's vacation. Actually, just checked in a bit ago. They're about 3 hours out of Roswell. They stayed in Post last evening, and they're going to be driving in.
I love Post. Have you been to Post?
I've never been to Post.
The Holly Drive-In is a drive-in that
cooks their burgers on a flat top and
Really?
greasy and the best milkshakes. Remember the little green machines that? Yeah, that post is the home of the golden antelopes.
Is that right?
Yeah,
I did not know
Fascinates me.
But yeah, I love a good flat top grill burger.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if you got a good seasoned grill.
That's what it is.
I've said this for years, but I would have loved to, right after they closed down, gotten a hold of the guy who did Wally Burger.
Yeah.
Their grill, either one of the ones. Oh my God. Because that grill was just perfectly seasoned. But yeah, they're in post. They'll be heading back towards Roswell as soon as they kind of get their sorts about them. They're also getting off a boat, so it's kind of, trying to get their sea leg or their land legs again, so to speak. But we are gearing up for the biggest weekend in Roswell all year long. It's obvious. I mean, we get so many people here. Hotels are packed. And obviously, we're talking about the UFO Festival and, of course, Galacticon 2024. It's coming up real quick. And one of the best parts about this year, and I'm really appreciative of the fact that everybody's working in conjunction this year.
Right.
Like, it's not...
I call it a coalition.
A coalition. It's not us against them, against you, against I. It's all for the betterment of Roswell, all to bring tourism dollars to Roswell, all to bring interest and eyes to Roswell so that we can keep building and making this thing a bigger and better,
Exactly.
Better thing.
Yeah, we're not in it for the money.
That's right. We're not totally in it for the money, all right? We are in it for the money, but we're not all the way. We also want to make sure that, we give Roswell a festival that it deserves,
Right.
It's one of those things that it celebrates all the things, all of the aspects that bring people to Roswell. The thought of what could be out there, the great expanse and all the stuff that went down in 1947, regardless of whether it's a weather balloon, another balloon, or some other kind of unidentified aerial. What is it?
Phenomenon.
UAP. I should remember that because it's one.
It's
letter
the new word.
It's one letter away from.
It's the old word made new again.
New again. There you go. Yeah.
Exactly. It's the reamalgamation, so to speak. But it's going to be a busy weekend here in Roswell. It is July 5th through the 7th, and that's going to be happening pretty much all over downtown Roswell.
That's right. Yeah, the coalition includes the Main Street Roswell and the UFO Museum, and then up at the Convention Center, which is just 4 blocks north of the courthouse area.
And air conditioned.
Yes, exactly. Is the Roswell Convention Center, and we have the Roswell Daily Record, hereafter referred to as RDR, and the Roswell Galacticon pretty much took over that building like they did have in the past, and have our programs up there. So that's what I've been talking about every Monday morning at 8:15 is things that are happening both at the Galacticon and, of course, the whole coalition aspect. So what I have today is to cover my partner at the Convention Center, and that's the RDR, because they do the film festival.
Yes. And that is going to be a big film fest this year. We got, what did they say? They were reviewing over 120 films to narrow it down to the finalists.
Yeah.
Do we have an idea of kind of how many movies we're going to have?
It's going to come down to the wire, honestly, because we have judges from as far as New Zealand working on it right now.
Oh, wow.
The guy that I run the film festival with, Maximo Verone, he's my co-author at the newspaper. He's actually lives in Argentina, so that's why I'm kind of dead today. We drove to Albuquerque to get him last night, so I'm even going to have to cheat sheet my own event on my phone. So,
but that's what a big deal is. This is we're bringing in somebody from Argentina, from another part of the world to be a part of this festival and to really bring some top notch entertainment. All produced, if not locally, then sub-locally or on an independent level.
Yeah, and we have entries from all over the world. That's why it's an international film festival. We're doing documentaries. We've got TV shows, short films, feature-length films.
Different.
Yeah, it's pretty good quality. And to kick things off, pardon me.
Starting to sound like me this morning. Trust me, I've been doing 2 radio stations, and my voice is really feeling it today. But
like I said, cheat sheet. But actually, Thursday night outside of the convention center, out on the the lawn,
patio
area. We'll be showing E.T.
Yes.
And that will be at 8:30, and that will be a free event, just like the rest of our festival.
And it's movies. The free evening movie is going to happen every night. I believe the one on Saturday night is The Iron Giant.
Right.
And we actually have the creator of The Iron Giant going to be coming and giving a talk here as well.
Friday night is Clyde Lewis.
Yes.
So, and he's going to be there all day Friday or all afternoon Friday. And then Friday evening he'll be broadcasting So so that took up that part. But yeah, the free films hark back to 20 years ago when we did them, and might mention that the whole film festival this year is sponsored by City of Roswell with RDR and as a free event.
Absolutely, yeah. The films that are going to be shown at the Roswell Convention and Civic Center. It is a free event. We want to invite folks out there. The air conditioning will be going, so when you're out in the blistering Roswell
and free
heat,
parking, a lot of free parking.
That's a huge thing.
Yeah.
I was talking to Mike last week when they were kind of preparing for their cruise, just to park their vehicle for the 7 days they were going to be on the boat. It was like over $200.
Oh wow!
Just to park. At that point, meet a friend in Galveston. Like, find somebody, meet somebody, and be like, "Hey, I'm going to park my car in your driveway." That would be real nice. But yes, the Roswell Daily Record is making this film festival happen this year. It's a huge event, and like we said, just a ton of great content going to be here. And you mentioned full-length movies, short films, TV shows, documentaries, animated things. So it's really just all different genres, all different walks of the film world. So if there's one specific genre of film that you like, I'm going to assume that every day you'll have kind of a breakdown of what's going to be shown when.
Yeah.
So when you go to Galacticon, when you go to the Roswell Convention and Civic Center, find the room where they're going to be showing the films. They'll have a breakdown of this film will be on at this time, and kind of give you a little synopsis of what the film's about, so you can kind of build your day, because there's so much going on that weekend. Whether it's at the planetarium with the laser light shows, stuff that's happening with Main Street, the Alien Fest there on Main Street, Roswell, and of course the water park and the playground that we're going to have outside of the convention center. Our attentions are going to be pulled in a lot of different directions for that weekend. For sure.
Exactly, which is a good thing.
Absolutely, it is.
Because we want them to say, "Darn, I didn't get to do that. I'll have to come back next year."
I got to sweep back next year.
Yep.
Whether it's any of the speakers, the 501st Dewback Ridge Legions of Stormtroopers are going to be here. Lots of great speakers. The Globots exhibition at the Miniatures Museum, which is going to be amazing. That is one of Roswell's best kept secrets. If you've never been through the Miniatures Museum here, it is such a trip.
Did you know there's 7 museums in Roswell?
I knew there was a few, but I
7 museums.
There's a couple that
That's amazing.
It is.
Yeah.
And if you have the time in a weekend, do the whole tour. You can go check out the Miniatures Museum. Yeah. Head for the Roswell Museum and Arts Center. There's there's a ton of
there's
history.
There's Walker.
Here.
There's Historical Museum. There's NMMI Museum, and there's a Contemporary Art Museum.
Absolutely. They're all there for you, and they all just want to kind of show off what they bring to the art world. But lots of activities happening over the weekend. Give us a rundown of some of the other stuff that's going to be happening inside of the convention center for Galacticon.
Well, let's start with outside, because we do have the water park and the playground. Mm-hmm. We have the free films on the patio, and we have and the water park. We got 4 water slides and 4 bouncy houses.
Nice.
And a drying off tent, which sounds good, and an observation area for the parents. And then they're going to shoot the cannon at like 3 to 4:30 on Friday and Saturday, or something of that sort. So it's just a good place to let the kids go wild and unwind a little bit. And of course, while you're looking at all that, we also have something going to be outside to observe, is the flying saucer car. Now, They were here for the eclipse, and they just thought they want to come back for Roswell UFO Festival. Cool. They're driving it from Indiana. It drives. It's an amazing thing. You can find it on YouTube.
Yeah, I've never seen that before.
What's a Geo Metro? It's converted. Yeah, is that right?
When I was a teenager, and this is going to tell you how just a lot more about me than you probably want to know. When I was a teenager, that was my dream car.
Oh, okay.
I wanted the Geo Metro.
Well, come and look at it.
Then I found out it's what all the hottest girls in school were driving at the time, so I'm not sure why I wanted one so bad, but boy, did I want one.
But yeah, it's a modified Geo Metro, and it'll be outside to observe, and that's sponsored by Galacticon and the Roswell Chamber of Commerce.
Nice.
And Crumlin Auto. So we got tie-ins there, but they're driving a thing with a sign on it that says "Follow me to Roswell."
Now, is it wider than an average lane? I would imagine if it's a flying saucer, it's gonna have a wide.
I have to show you a picture.
Gate. I'll definitely have a look.
And let's say check it out on YouTube. It's interesting.
I would just hate to be the guy that gets stuck behind that guy on the freeway. It's like, I know you're putting on a show. I got places to be. But either way.
But that'll be observable, and you can get pictures. And we have so many photo ops as well.
Absolutely.
We have the Stormtroopers, as you say, coming through. Mm-hmm. We also have the Working Droids by Frank Renda.
Yes.
And he brought them last year. And they've actually been going to the UFO Museum for a few years, but we finally got him to spread out a little bit and come to us. And the kids, well, everybody dances with them and loves to see them. Good photo ops there. Yeah. So, and then inside the convention center as well, we have room A where the council meets is the film festival.
Okay,
so and they'll be showing films from, I think it's 9 to 6.
I believe so. I'm going to shake my head yes.
Don't look to him for confirmation. We already said he's going to be no help today. He's just here to fill a seat.
And he didn't fly.
I'm actually asleep right now.
But no, I believe it's 9 to 6 each day.
Okay.
And
yeah, it is 9 to 6.
Friday and
then
Saturday.
Friday, obviously, Clyde Lewis will be on at 8.
Yeah, so that'll extend it a little bit. So that's all in that first room, which is room A. Room B is our free room, which again was sponsored. And we have speakers and maybe Clyde Lewis in there that evening, just depending on how we arrange things. And anything else that's kind of interest, a workshop or a panel talk and things of that sort. And then in the main hall, which we now have the whole main hall, the city stepped back this year, so I went down and rented the other half.
Nice.
And so we're filling it up.
Okay.
But we're about a third gaming. Gaming is just getting bigger and bigger.
Really?
And
you hear that, Roy?
Yeah, Roy is a part of it. Roy is doing the video game part of it. Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent.
Like he did last year. And we also have another new business in town that's Frost Giant. They're taking part as well. So we love involving the community.
We have to kind of pay homage to and accept the fact that we are a tourist community.
Yes.
So it would behoove Roswell to set up businesses that, cater to that tourist community, things that offer experiences. Spaceport Roswell, for example, another great place to have, those experiences. You can, experience VR there. Bricktown, another great little spot right there in downtown. The spacewalk just off, on East 2nd Street.
Definitely.
There's all these cool little experiences, and those businesses know we're catering to a tourist community, and that's really
right.
where you're gonna make that bank.
Absolutely.
I'd also recommend the UFO tour.
Yep, and if you've never,
Paul Simonis down there does a good job, great job.
Even
out of Bricktown.
Even if you're a local and you've never been, because I've lived here for, it's weird. This is where I've actually spent the majority of my life is in Roswell. So I'm technically a lifer. But I've never been on that UFO tour. I've never gone out into the desert, never seen that area, and it's a very immersive tour because they put you right in the spot where everything happened.
That's absolutely.
And a lot of really great information from the docents that are on that tour. So just a great opportunity. A lot of great stuff happening there in downtown Roswell as well with Main Street Roswell's Alien Fest. And have a lot of, we're closing down 2nd to 5th, is it?
Yes.
I believe. That'll all be open to, 2nd to 5th. It'll all be open to vendors that'll be out there on the streets. They'll have lots of food
trucks. There's a stage on each end. The stage on the north end is right by the courthouse there. The courthouse is kind of the center area.
Right.
And we also have a cultural stage with the Tejano bands on the south end, which is new this year and exciting.
That'll be down closer towards 2nd Street is where you'll find.
Actually, it's going to be past that. It'll be like First and Main.
Okay.
Or Walnut and Main,
So,
one
so
of those two.
right there at that little, right where the downtown area is.
It's kind of by El Toro Bravo.
Okay. So kind of in that little spot right there.
There'll be a stage there as well. So that part's closed off too.
So there you go. So lots of stuff happening downtown. A lot of local vendors, a lot of folks selling some craft items, handmade goods, and also just some really cool one-of-a-kind items.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a gift for somebody.
Well, again, we have the merch hall at the convention center, but it's lockable, air-conditioned building. We keep saying that, but it's important. But those are like maybe jewelers that want to lock up and go to the motel in the evening. But there's vendors there, merchandise, collectibles, artwork, books, things of that sort. And then there's also vendors on the street that have all kinds of things.
Yes.
Blow up alien dolls and jewelry, fine jewelry, things of that sort. So
I watched a video over the weekend. It was just talking about this theme restaurant. There's a UFO themed restaurant. And this guy was making such a big deal out of, they have the glasses that make your eyes look like, I'm like, we have like 60 shops in Roswell that sell those. It's not that big of a deal around here, but but to those folks who are into UFOs, and this is like their tour of a lifetime, that's the chance for them to to have those experiences.
Well, like I said, there's a lot of sides to the whole UFO Roswell There's the silly, like you said, the glasses.
And we're back. Previous was a test of the emergency alert system. In case of an emergency, we probably would have told you to like stick your head between your legs and kiss your butt goodbye. But it was just a test. So I digress.
But yeah, there's the daily boppers and the glasses. But there's also a very serious side.
Oh, absolutely.
And having been involved with this about 20 years, I've seen that firsthand and dealt with that. The UFO Museum,
Yes.
I think, kind of deals with that side. So there's a lot of components. And the film festival arose in 2012, excuse me, with the Galacticon. And Alan Trevor was heading it up at that time. We all started with a 3-day go make a film and we'll judge it, which was a lot of fun, but it was a killer. But anyway, he had moved to the C&M in Roswell, and it just was kind of staying out there. Nobody was passionate. And then Toby comes along, and normally he's passionate.
I'm sure you can
when he's
tell.
away.
I can see your eyes, yeah.
But no, he wanted to do the film festival, and it's like, yes, please, because it's too important.
Oh, absolutely.
To sci-fi films, but and there wasn't one, and so we're just thrilled to death that RDR has taken that over.
And you hear that all the time because this is a weird term to use, but I use the term pockets of passion. There's little areas of southeastern New Mexico that are very, very passionate about certain things. A huge portion of people that are very passionate about filmmaking. There's a lot of folks who are very into the music scene here in Roswell and southeastern New Mexico. And for those people, that's their entire world. And so it's having the people who are able to kind of organize and bring all of that together so we can celebrate it. That was the missing piece, and that's where you come in and kind of amalgamating it all together so we can celebrate it as a whole.
And that's what I've always said. You got to have the passion, and we did not have anybody with the passion. So.
Yeah, and it's been interesting. We have a lot of the directors and actors and actresses will come out that are in the films. Last year we had Eduardo Sanchez, who's famous for directing the Blair Witch Project.
Sure.
Came down, and we did a special screening of that, and he stayed afterwards and told stories. So it's pretty fun. Kind of excited to announce this year, for anybody that doesn't watch the Discovery Channel, they filmed a show here back in March.
Really?
Yeah, it's called Alien Encounters, Fact or Fiction.
Okay.
So we will actually be bringing out one of the co-hosts of the show, Chrissy Newton.
Nice.
And that show premieres this Wednesday at 9 p.m. on Discovery.
Oh, very cool.
And there will be some locals in there, along with people brought from outside.
You'll have a chance to watch it when it premieres on TV, and then you can come out if you have questions for the people who were involved in the making of it.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. That's one of those. It's kind of like with Clyde Lewis. There's people who are very passionate about Clyde Lewis's show, and they listen every single night or every time he's on, and they got questions. He puts a lot of information out there. You want to ask him, what's your opinion on this aspect of things, or what's your opinion on, aerial phenomena, things like that. And Clyde's just an encyclopedia of information. So
yeah, and this will be everybody's chance to interact with him. The show is going to be interactive. We're going to let the audience ask questions. It's going to be. It's a lot of fun. Like you said, he has a lot of fans. It's a very popular show, so people definitely should come out, check it out. Like you said, if you have questions for him, it's your chance to ask him.
Absolutely. And also the planetarium going to be getting involved with the Laser Light Show, doing the Grateful Dead show.
Always fun. If you haven't seen Pink Floyd.
The Pink Floyd. Last year, that show, it completely blows your mind.
It does. That's the best.
It's so cool. And I like... One of my favorite things to do is when they do second Saturday at the planetarium, we take the kids out because, they show a movie on the planetarium on the big screen. And it's usually something educational and something, the kids get kind of bored halfway through. But before they show the movie, to kind of get your eyes adjusted to the planetarium, they show what's called a fractal. Are you familiar with these? And you're just like, you're in a setting and you're traveling down these tubes of light, and half the time I'm like, but I wanted to go over there, and they're going this way. And for like 2 good minutes, I'll spend, an hour and a half on a Saturday doing crafts just for that 2 minutes of fractal. It's such a cool experience. So definitely, if you get a chance, be a part of the Laser Light show they're going to be doing there at the planetarium. It's all hands on deck. We're getting as many people involved, as many entities involved, because we want to show people that, we're worth the trip.
That's right.
This is going to be it's a festival that Roswell hasn't ever seen before, because we're all working together.
Yep.
I know that you have different categories as well for the judging of the films. And you might kind of mention what types of film and genres.
Don't look, I'm getting on my phone.
Uh-oh.
No, so the idea of the film festival was to bring the world of, fact, fiction together. So we want everything from sci-fi to cryptozoology, UFOs, paranormal. So, yeah, that's the main categories. We have your feature-length films, you have docuseries, you have web series, TV series, and...
So how many winners will we have?
There's going to be about 10 trophies we're handing out.
Okay.
So
Okay.
It'll be a big festival. I think the official selection, like you said, is about 120 films, and from that, it'll be narrowed down.
Gotcha. So a lot of different genres going to be covered. Cryptozoology. That's quite the genre. But yeah, so a lot of different genres covered. And I was just thinking, southeastern New Mexico, or New Mexico in general, is one of the best locations for film. Not only because of tax credits and some things that have been put in place,
weather
to bring people, but the weather's always fantastic.
What's the temperature
right now? Yeah, this is something that Vince Gilligan has preached and spread the word for decades. That if you're looking for a filming location, New Mexico is one of the best because you can get mountainous locations, you can get green, you can get the desert. New Mexico offers so many different film styles and film sets. And it's a great background.
Absolutely.
The
There's
best
so many
part
different biomes,
Exactly. The best part of cryptozoology is you get to say chupacabra.
Well, that and it's a big word too.
Yeah, it's a cool word.
When I was a kid, I learned like one or two really big words so that I would sound smart to people. And one of them was the stuff inside of onions that makes you cry. It's propantheolus oxide. So that was my go-to word. My son the other day, when we picked him up from Camp Invention, he gets in the car and I said, "What'd you guys learn about today?" And he said, "Bioluminescence." So that's his big word. So cryptozoology is another big one to add to your vocabulary.
That's right.
It's always fun to find a new word to add to that vocabulary. So, but yeah, if you're into historical monsters, if you're into aliens, if you're into anything in the sci-fi genre, there's going to be something for everybody out there.
Is there a night where you're making the awards, or are they going to do that as we go?
We're going to do it as we go. We
Okay.
were
I
going
know
to do an
we've
award
done it both
ceremony,
ways
but
in the
yeah, we're
past,
going to
yeah.
stick with. I think we took your advice on that one, honestly. So yeah, if we show an official selection that's a winner, afterwards we'll have the award. And like I said, if the director, actor, actresses, whoever's there, they'll come up on stage and they can talk.
Sure. Now, is the plan to do it in blocks? Like we'll have like an all sci-fi block here, and then do an awards, or would it be kind of like a sci-fi, maybe like a short, and then something from a different genre?
I think like we did last year, you kind of mix it up so
Okay.
it keeps the audience entertained. Because you don't want to sit through like
Right.
3 feature-length documentaries in a row. I mean, I wouldn't want to at least.
Well, it depends on the subject matter. I've been known to sit through more than 2 or 3 hours of content if it's something I'm actually interested in.
But we do have air conditioning, so you might want
That's
to.
right. We remember that.
And, we
And
need
a place
shirts-
for the kids
We
to
should
play.
get shirts that say "Follow me to the air conditioning."
Oh, I like that. I like that.
Follow me to the AC.
That's
The
right.
truth is in here.
Mm-hmm.
And don't forget, all of the downtown vendors, the downtown businesses are going to be getting involved. They're going to have specials. They're going to have sales that are going to be going on. So while you're out, touring Main Street, pop into one of those shops. They're going to have air conditioning too.
That's right.
And we got some really cool spots here in downtown Roswell, like UFO Fizz. If you've never been in there, it's a whole new world of carbonated beverages. And I am a man who loves a good carbonated beverage. So you can find all kinds of cool stuff in that spot. There's different gift shops around downtown Roswell. So really something for everybody.
Even the vendors and on the street and in Galacticon, half of them are local.
Absolutely, yeah. Right here in our own backyard. And they're usually, you can find them around Roswell if you know where to look.
Right.
Or if you get them on Facebook and say, "Hey, where you parked today?" We're going to be doing the cosplay contest inside the convention center. And that's going to kind of lead into the alien costume contest that they're going to be doing in downtown.
We schedule it for starting at noon. Cosplayers will register with us, and then they will be soliciting votes from the public in form of $1 per ticket.
Okay.
So you come up and buy 20 tickets, and then you can give them to whoever you want to.
Nice.
And just trying to get walking around and getting the whole feeling of it. A lot of the cons, Santa Fe, for instance, 60% of the people walking through the door are in cosplay, which is kind of cool.
yeah.
Cosplay being costume, but it also involves developing the whole persona
Right.
with it.
You're in character.
You stay in character for that time being. So we could start at noon with people collecting the votes and everything, and at 3 o'clock we'll have judging, and we will be having cash prizes. So we'll have first, second, and third, and the People's Choice Award will all receive. And that'll end, say, 4-ish. But the costume contest for the Alien Festival downtown is at 6, so that you can go move on to that. So you're still in costume or cosplay.
You've probably taken it off and toweled down a little bit beforehand.
We have air conditioning, though. So
some of those costumes don't, though. And, you put that much foam rubber on it.
Definitely.
It's a little sweaty.
So then we have the parade at 8 o'clock. So you can kind of have a full day of costume, and that's kind of what we planned. So
I was trying to think of the term that Mike uses when they do the graveyard, historical graveyard things around the fall time. It's called Chautauqua.
Yes.
When you imbue the character that you're portraying. So a bunch of Chautauqua happening. There's some Chautauqua going down.
You're just going for the word. That's all.
That's right. That's right. So if you're into costumes, if you're into dressing up, pick out something. I would recommend something light, maybe not a lot of foam rubber. I wouldn't necessarily dress up as the alien from Alien for this festival, unless, of course, you really have a penchant for sweating, in which case, go nuts. But then the alien costume contest and the
ending with the parade.
And the pet costume contest is going to be happening there.
Pet contest is Saturday morning,
Yes.
And Galacticon's been doing that for a few years because we partner with the Real Pickles Kennel Club, and then our new sponsor this year is Wildlife Emporium.
Oh, very nice.
Wildlife Safari Animal Emporium.
That's I think that's where I think it's where my friend got his reptile tank.
Yes, generally speaking.
Yeah.
Yes.
But so that's awesome. And definitely would do the pet costume contest early in the day before
9 o'clock in the morning before it gets too hot for the critters.
Yeah. So a lot of chances to get dressed up, to dress up your pooches, and by the way, they love that. Dogs, cats, they love putting costumes on.
Sure they cats do. Especially.
I've always kind of had a little problem with putting costumes on animals because I can't necessarily get consent from them. It's like I'm going to put this bonnet on you. Just don't bite me, okay? That's.
We've had bedazzled lizards, and and different critters like that, chickens once, and one time I had a horse painted green.
Really?
Yeah.
That just seems cruel. I don't know. I'm not here to judge, but that just seems. And also very.
What was it? Kermit said it's easy to be green.
It's not easy being green.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not. No, it is not. But sure, paint your ponies and bring them out to the.
Please don't.
Yeah. The views expressed by Sean Smalls do not reflect those of Pecos Valley Broadcasting or Galacticon.
Yeah.
But lots of fun stuff happening all over town. It goes from the 5th through the 7th, and actually July 4th, because some of the films are actually going to be shown.
The first free film is Thursday night, which is July 4th now.
Yep. Yeah. E.T.
Yep.
E.T. And then on Saturday night, it's Iron Giant, and we actually have the animator, whose name is Steve Garcia, that hails from Albuquerque originally, grew up in Albuquerque, and he's the illustrator and animator that did Iron Giant. He'll be at the con.
He'll be introducing the film, right?
Yes.
That is such a cool story and experience because he designed the cartoon to mimic the comic book style of art.
Right.
And it's such a more complex style of animation. You have to there's a lot more frames that go into that fluid animation style.
Well, the years since he's done Simpsons.
Yeah.
And he's done Torque and Journey to Planet Earth or something.
Really?
I have to look that up.
Wow.
Yeah.
So a very thorough resume.
Escape from Planet Earth.
Escape from Planet Earth. So just something for everybody. If you want more information, the real catch-all for all of it is UFOfestival.com. You head over there, click on the main tab, then click the events tab, and there's a breakdown topic by topic of everything that's going to be happening. The 4th, then there's the 5th, the 6th, so you can really plan your day out and say, well, I definitely want to hit this one. I want to go to the laser show, but I definitely want to go on the UFO tour. I want to see this ufologist speak. I want to be a part of the costume contest. So you can kind of map out your Galacticon.
And there will be a schedule publicized for the films. Yes. I've already received a copy of it anyway. Oh, okay. I know it will change because I've been there, done that.
List.
But, to hit those that interest you, and I know in the past we always marked anything that was a little PG.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just to let parents know, this might get a little, there may be some violence
That's
involved.
more than the gore, the possibility there.
Most of that's going to be edited out since it's a free event. We want people to feel comfortable going into anything that we're going to show.
That's true.
Good. Well, until of course you're showing the sci-fi stuff, and then you want to feel uncomfortable, but not uncomfortable about the language.
A certain type of uncomfortable.
I just want him to feel uneasy, not uncomfortable. That's what we're going for. But
get the skin crawling a little bit.
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
UFOfestival.com is the catch-all for all the information about Galacticon, the Main Street Roswell's Alien Fest, the stuff happening there at the UFO Museum and Research Center, all the stuff downtown. It's so much.
Right.
There's so much to do. So if anybody who says that weekend, or really any weekend, there's nothing to do in Roswell, smack them upside the head, then send them to UFOfestival.com. Would you please? We'd appreciate that. Did we get it all? I think we knocked it all off.
Yeah.
Go take
Anything
a
else
nap,
there
would
on
you?
the film?
Huh?
Anything else on the films?
I think that's it.
I'm excited about it this year. This is great.
Well, there you go. Thank you guys so much for your time. Please get some sleep. It's going to be a busy weekend. We need you well rested. And we'll have you back next Monday.
Right.
To as we kind of get closer and closer.
Yeah, our theme next week is the gaming portion.
Okay, cool. So maybe we have
And
Roy pop
cosplay,
in and talk a little bit. Very cool. Again, UFOfestival.com for all the info that you need to know. And it's going to be big. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate you. 7 away from 9 o'clock. Let us get you up to date with some local news.
Now, for your Pecos Valley News Update, I'm Jared Cirillo. We begin today in Roswell, where the animal shelter is temporarily closed as steps are being taken to respond to a situation in which a dog infected with distemper was brought into the shelter. At the time the dog was taken, it was not known that it had the virus. After the dog began to show symptoms, it was tested by a veterinarian and found to be positive for distemper. Distemper is a virus that can spread among dogs but cannot be passed on to humans. The closure could last up to 3 weeks in order to thoroughly clean the facility and ensure that the animals are monitored for a sufficient period of time. Only emergency cases will be allowed into the shelter during this time. All dog pets should be vaccinated against distemper and parvo. One of Artesia's busiest streets is due for a major facelift. Smith Engineering has been awarded the contract for the rebuilding of 26th Street from West Main to West Hermosa Drive. Construction is expected to last about a year and a half and includes the installation of new sidewalks and walking paths, sewer and water lines, and curbs and gutters. The project is expected to begin by the end of this summer and will run in 5 separate phases. Phase 1 will begin from Main Street to just north of Grand Avenue. You're up to date. I'm Jared Cirillo.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Lots of heat coming up for the next few days. 104 to 107 on the afternoon high today. It will be a little bit breezy, especially in the afternoon hours. Wind at 15 to 20 miles an hour, and will stay sunny. Overnight will be clear, down to a low of about 70 and still pretty breezy. Around 105 for the afternoon high on Tuesday, and sunny. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
All across America, this is the Lou Dobbs Business Report.
I'm Lou Dobbs. June losses mount on the Dow. Apple overtakes Microsoft. Retail and housing data this week. Stocks coming off a mixed week of trading. The S&P and NASDAQ both notching weekly gains. Chip stocks and Apple helped boost the NASDAQ to a record close. The Dow riding a 4-day losing streak. The index again falling Friday as consumer confidence waned. The University of Michigan's index fell to 65.6 the first half of June, well below economists' estimates for the first 2 weeks of the month. Sticky inflation, as they call it, has investors less hopeful heading into the second half of the year. Apple overtaking Microsoft as the wealthiest company in the world. Apple's market cap standing at about $3.3 trillion as of last week. The iPhone maker outpacing Microsoft. Meanwhile, NVIDIA close behind. NVIDIA's total value sits at $3.18 trillion. It's a close race. A short week on Wall Street this week. No trading Wednesday. The market closed for the Juneteenth holiday. Please join me twice each weekday for the Lou Dobbs Business Report right here.
Business news you need to know. Keep listening for more. This is the Lou Dobbs Business Report.
I'm Lou Dobbs. Companies in the United States are 10 times more likely to be a victim of a cyber attack. Manufacturing, healthcare, retail, financial services, the leading targets. Ericsson Cyber Z Suite provides the protection you need before your data gets stolen, bank accounts get drained, and operations are at a standstill. Call Ericsson today to schedule a no-obligation consultation. That's 908-878-7717. Ericsson, ERACENT.com. 908-878-7717.
A good night's sleep is so important, and issues like sleep apnea make falling asleep and staying asleep nearly impossible, but we can help. I'm Dr. Sarah Usher at Carabelli Dental. With the help of a simple oral appliance, your sleepless nights could be a thing of the past. But don't take my word for it, just ask Lainey.
My name is Lainey Smith. I wasn't surprised when I found out I had sleep apnea simply because I had a horrible sleep pattern. I attempted to use the machine and it drove me nuts and I could not sleep with it. And then that's when Dr. Agar told me about the oral appliance. I would suspect I've been using it for 2 years now. In all of that time, I've had less than 10 poor nights of sleep. It's a complete game changer. I feel a lot better because I sleep.
This simple appliance can change your life. Call us today to set up your appointment so you can finally get the good night's sleep you need.
Come see the team at Carabelli Dental at the corner of 9th and Main in Roswell or call 575-622-4455.
Innovation, service, integrity, and knowledge. J.S. Ward & Son Insurance Agency. Auto and home, life and health, personal and commercial. Bonds too, since 1925, we have the coverage for you. Innovation, service, integrity, and knowledge. J.S. Ward & Son Insurance Agency.
Do you love your car?
Yes.
Well, Roswell Hyundai wants to help you keep your current car with a lower payment. Introducing Refi with Hyundai. Roswell Hyundai wants to help you refinance your current vehicle with rebates and discounts to lower your payment. If you're ready to upgrade, Roswell Hyundai has a fresh inventory of new and pre-owned vehicles with special financing available regardless of your credit with I-10 accepted. Don't forget, all new Hyundais come with a 5-year bumper-to-bumper warranty and 3 years of free oil changes. So, what makes Roswell Hyundai the #1 used car dealership in southeastern New Mexico? You do. Roswell Hyundai, 1909 West 2nd.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. There are 293 ways to make change for $1. Try all 293 on the guy who keeps borrowing money from you. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. Closing in on 9 o'clock on this Monday morning without Mike Winters. Mixmaster Mike back inside your radios tomorrow morning as he makes their way from the final leg of the journey from Post-Texas into back here into Roswell. Hey, stay tuned. Next hour, we're going to be chit-chatting with Bill Williams, Chaves County manager, all about the meeting they recently had, all the updates, the changes, and all the need-to-know info about Chaves County. That's going to be next hour right here on 106.5 KEND, Roswell, New Mexico.
Bill Cunningham is now in Roswell on 106.5 FM KEND Roswell.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Greg Clugston in Washington. Summer officially arrives on Thursday, but high heat is already here, and it's moving across a large section of the U.S. William Churchill at the National Weather Service says the heat wave that plagued the South this weekend is spreading to the Great Lakes region and then into the Northeast by tomorrow.
The upper level ridge that's really driving this thing is essentially unprecedented for how strong it is this early in the summer. So that's our big concern, and that, that kind of feature at an unprecedented strength at that level tends to translate to record-breaking heat at the surface, and that's certainly what's being forecasted at this point.
In California, crews are battling multiple wildfires amid high temps and strong winds.
The Post Fire burning near Interstate 5 in Gorman on the main north-south route between Los Angeles and Bakersfield led to evacuations from the Hungry Valley State Vehicular Recreation Area, where at least 2 structures were burned. Kenichi Haskett with the LA County Fire Department says strong gusts are hampering efforts by aircraft crews.
When it's windy, it pushes it just sprays the water everywhere else, or that we don't need it.
Officials warned residents of Castaic near Pyramid Lake they should prepare to leave if the fire pushes further south. As of last night, that fire was nearly 23 square miles and about 2% contained, according to CAL FIRE. I'm Jennifer King.
Israeli officials say that Prime Minister Netanyahu has dissolved the influential war cabinet that was tasked with steering the war in Gaza. Russian President Putin will make a rare visit to North Korea tomorrow. He is to meet with Kim Jong-un for talks focused on expanding military cooperation. And the U.S. Surgeon General says social media is a contributing factor to mental health crisis among young people. He wants to see warning labels slapped on social media platforms. More at townhall.com.
Government debt is now exploding by an unprecedented $1 trillion every 90 days. Think of that. It's a clear sign that our nation's finances are spinning out of control, and it's putting the savings of every one of you at risk. Hello, I'm Lance Wallnow, a news analyst and best-selling author and an evangelical.
But where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 866-755-5300. That's 866-755-5300. Again, that's 866-755-5300. Call us right now.
With them.
However, despite attending, some key developing nations did not sign the summit's communique. I'm Karen Shamma.
Russian media reports that security forces stormed a detention center and killed inmates accused of links to the Islamic State group. The inmates had taken 2 staff members hostage. News and analysis at townhall.com. Passengers and crew on a plane flying to Australia are safe after making an emergency landing.
A passenger plane has landed safely at a New Zealand airport after a fire shut down one of its engines. The nation's fire service says the Virgin Australia Boeing 737-800 jet bound for Melbourne, Australia, landed in Invercargill after the fire forced a diversion. Queenstown Airport spokeswoman Catherine Nin says the cause of the engine fire and the number of passengers on board the plane are not immediately known. Virgin Australia said in an email statement that the incident may have been caused by a possible bird strike. I'm Charles Dulates.
It was a thrilling finish at the U.S. Open as it came down to the final hole. In the end, Bryson DeChambeau hoisted the trophy after edging Rory McIlroy by 1 stroke. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The devil said, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. 6 minutes after 9 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 3.
Trace Inviernos.
One more hour of a morning without Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Happy Monday. Yes, Mixmaster Mike still on his way back from parts unknown as far as like where they were on the boat, but then Galveston, and then Post, Texas, and now right back to Roswell. They'll be making their journey back today. I thought it was funny. He texted me, he said, "Take the rest of the day to chill." Oh yeah, no, it's fine. You need to vacation. They'll be back inside your radios bright and early tomorrow morning to regale us with stories from the high seas. And I'd imagine probably a few spills, chills, and thrills too. I've heard a few kind of inside stories about activities that were going to happen, but then other things happened and injuries occurred, so maybe they didn't get to do things. But we'll get into all that tomorrow morning as Mixmaster Mike is back inside your radios. And we'll have plenty of time to talk too, because I don't think we have a lot of guests scheduled for the rest of this week. It's pretty quiet. I feel like maybe he crammed all the guests in the week he knew he was going to be gone, just to kind of help me out a little bit to pad my week.
Well, he didn't want you to get bored.
Yeah, exactly. Right. God knows. Idle hands, the devil's plaything, and all that. So, but yes, Mixmaster.
He didn't want you to get rusty,
Right. Yeah, we're going out for dinner, but go ahead and make dinner anyways. I don't want you to get rusty. But yes, Mike, the king of all things, 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM, back inside your radios tomorrow morning. Meantime, you got me for the rest of this hour. Coming up here in just a few minutes, we're going to get you up to date with the weather and let you know how hot it's going to be this week until it's officially summertime, and then it's not hot because weather's stupid. Then after the break, we'll sit down with Bill Williams, Chavez County Manager. We're going to chat all about the most recent meeting, decisions that were made, decisions that weren't made, but probably for the right reasons, and where we're at as we move into the summertime season. We'll get into that coming up here in just a few minutes. Wanted to put a couple things on your radar. First and foremost, the folks at the Gonzales Hope Center are putting together blessing bags for the folks in our area that are in need as the temperatures continue to rise. The folks who are homeless, who are maybe looking for a little help out there, we want to make sure they know that they're loved and taken care of. So we're putting together blessing bags through the Gonzales Hope Center. And if you can make a donation, either monetary or of any of these items, it would be absolutely appreciated. In fact, monetary is great, but these would be much more impactful because this is the items they need delivered to where they need them. So if you can donate cases of bottles of water, that's a huge need right now, as is reusable water bottles. There's a lot of places for folks to fill up those bottles, but there's just not a lot of reusable water bottles out there. Deodorants and sunscreens, SPF lip balms, as well as Band-Aids, feminine care products, mints, body wipes, little fans, cooling towels, shampoo, shavers, socks and underwear, toothbrushes and toothpaste, non-perishable snacks, sun hats and umbrellas, and sunglasses. So if you can make any donations along those lines, they would be absolutely appreciated. You can always drop them off at the Gonzales Hope Center over there on East 3rd, right behind the old 3rd Street station, or you can give Miss Jocelyn a call at 575-208-9509. That's 575-208-9509. Also wanted to remind you, coming up at the end of the month, and a big day on June 29th for the veterans and for the folks in Roswell in general. It all kicks off with a community barbecue that's going to be happening June 29th, beginning at 3 p.m. at Cielo Grande. The first 3,000 people are going to be treated to free barbecue brought to you by Constructibles Incorporated while supplies last. So the first 3,000 people getting fed, come on out and enjoy that. And then, if you're a veteran, you, as well as 3 of your guests, are invited at 4:30 p.m. to the Veterans Dinner and Show. That's going to be happening at Church on the Move, beginning at 4:30 p.m., the dinner and the show beginning at 5 p.m. And again, you and 3 of your guests are invited to be a part of that, where guest speakers Chad Robichaud and the musical guest Rhett Walker will entertain the public. Then, as the sun goes down, gear up and get ready, because we're going to light up the night sky with a bigger, better drone and fireworks show than Roswell has ever seen before. Right around 9 o'clock, we're going to send off 300 drones in the biggest drone show that you've ever seen in this part of the state, as well as a much bigger fireworks show that's going to be happening there at Cielo Grande once the sun goes down. So come on out and join us for a big day of celebration, and a huge thanks to Church on the Move and, of course, Constructibles Incorporated for making that event happen for us. 11 minutes after 9 o'clock on a Monday morning, let us pause and get you up to date with the weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Lots of heat coming up for the next few days. 104 to 107 on the afternoon high today. It will be a little bit breezy, especially in the afternoon hours. Wind at 15 to 20 miles an hour, and will stay sunny. Overnight will be clear, down to a low of about 70 and still pretty breezy. Around 105 for the afternoon high on Tuesday, and sunny. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Currently, let me get this refreshed over here, 83 degrees around Roswell. Humidity is at 38%, winds out of the south at around 16 miles an hour. The barometer is at 29.78 inches with a dew point of 55 degrees. Looking at 108 for the high today. I know once you get past like 105, it doesn't really matter. It's still going to be a big old bucket of suck. Sunny skies, 108 for the high, winds out of the south 10 to 15 miles an hour. Becoming 15 to 20 later in the afternoon. For tonight, mostly clear, dropping down to 70 for the overnight low. Winds 10 to 15 miles an hour, increasing after midnight, so buckle up for those overnight winds. Sunny skies and hot for your Tuesday, 105 for the high. Mostly clear and dropping down to 71 for the overnight low on Tuesday evening. Then for your Juneteenth, we got a slight chance for rain. That's when the cool down begins. 97 for the high on your Wednesday. For Wednesday night, 30% chance of rain, a high of overnight low of 70. And then get this, Thursday, the first official day of summer. 40% chance of rain, 83 degrees for the high. 83. I was born in 84, so that's almost a good year. But 83 degrees for the high on Thursday, 81 for your Friday with a 50% chance of rain. And so those clouds should cover up the sun for most of the day. Back to the heat on Saturday, 90 degrees for the high. Winds, again, calm at around 5 to 10. Partly cloudy and a 20% chance of rain on Sunday, 96 degrees for the high. 13 minutes after 9 o'clock, going to pay a couple of these bills. And after these, we get to the other bill. That's Bill Williams, Chavez County Manager, on the other side of these on a morning without Mike Winters. Stay tuned.
Pull! Shooters, mark your calendars for the H.F. Sinclair 3rd Annual Freedom Clay Shoot, July 12th and 13th at the Eddy County Shooting Range, benefiting the Artesia FFA. Main event is Saturday. Registration at 7 a.m. 1 in 4 participants win prizes, gun boards, raffles, and lunch included. There's an option Friday night light shoot with $40 individual rounds. Details and registration info at artesiachamber.com. Deadline is July 1st. The 3rd Annual H.F. Sinclair Freedom Clay Shoot, July 12th and 13th at the Eddy County Shooting Range.
Calling all men. June is Men's Health Month, and Artesia General Hospital wants you to step up and take care of your health. Every year, thousands of men in the U.S. die from preventable diseases. Take control of your health today and schedule a visit before something is wrong. Artesia General Hospital has specialists in a variety of men's health disciplines, but your primary care provider is the best place to start. Take your health seriously for yourself and for your loved ones. Visit artesiageneral.com/men's health or call 575-746-3119.
When you're healthy, you can do amazing things. We're all about that, because if you don't have access to health insurance through your work, or you just lost Medicaid, Be Well can connect you to the right health plan for you, your family, and your budget. We want to make your life a little easier, worry-free, and healthier, because your health is everything. Be strong, be adventurous, and be amazing. Be Well, New Mexico's health insurance marketplace. Learn more at BeWellNM.com.
Hi, this is Jim Gill from Roswell Seed Company, here to announce that our geraniums are ready. So now the great debate begins. Are they pink or are they raspberry sorbet? Are they orange or are they Caribbean coral? Well, whatever you call them, they're the prettiest geraniums anywhere. We raise them in our own greenhouse, then send them home with you to brighten up the world. So come get yours now while the selection is best. Don't worry about the silly names.
I heard that.
Yes, dear. Coming, dear. Right away, dear. Of course, you're right.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. The U.S. Treasury once considered producing donut-shaped coins. They instead decided to go with coin-shaped donuts. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning, 16 minutes after 9 o'clock. And joining us in studio this morning, Bill Williams, Travis County Manager. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing well. I've got to hand it to you. I mean, it's like the Superman Sean Smalls station.
Well, I appreciate that.
Managing 2 stations, doing all the advertising, do all the phone calls. I've never seen you work so hard as you've been working the last week or so.
And that's why they keep me on the payrolls for this week, because I don't ever work this hard any other time of year. It all comes out right now.
Well, I wasn't going to say anything about that, honestly. I was going to let that go.
You work at sloth level pretty much the rest of the year, and then you turn it into overdrive when Mike takes a break. But I digress. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate it. It's almost all over. You've been a busy little beaver, out and about. We were going to have you in on Friday, but you were out of town on Friday.
Yeah, I had to leave town for a little project I've been working on. But
somebody was looking for you. We admitted. We know. You had to lay low for a minute.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. On the lam.
Yeah, some guys were coming by looking for him, so he had to kind of disappear for a minute.
So normally we come by, every Friday after the county commission meeting, and our county commission meeting, of course, was a week early this time. Right. So everything just got kind of jumbled. Normally it would have been this Friday that I would have come, but as turned out, it was supposed to be last Friday, and I didn't come. So now we're on Monday. So
we did the dance. That's how it works. But so commission meeting in the books once again. How did things pan out?
It went really well. So first thing we did is we started out with a proclamation for the primary elections workers. So we decided there should be a primary election workers day to reflect on how much great work all the election workers did in the primary election.
Sure.
And so that was a great thing, good thing, and it was a perfect segue into the canvass of the 2024 primary election.
Okay.
And the canvass, of course, was pretty, not a whole lot to report there. I mean, sometimes they have a few that they have to count and some things that they have to do. This time was pretty much straightforward. People came in, cast their votes. The votes were counted. The votes were recounted. The votes were recounted. The things that our clerk and her staff do. And they just do an amazing job. And again, like I say, with the election workers, they couldn't do it without all the volunteers that come forward to help run all the different voting places and all. Right. So that was the first thing we did. And that was a fun part. We like it when we can do proclamations and recognize those people in our communities that bring so much to us. So
the one thing that always gets me about proclamations, if you've ever read proclamations, and I'm not sure if they're different from like the ones that like the mayor sends out. What's the deal with whereas?
Whereas, and whereas, and whereas, and therefore.
And therefore, right. I mean, I get the therefore. That's the proclamation part.
Yeah.
But I always love the whereas.
Be it proclaimed, be it further proclaimed. I mean, we've got all this. My English teacher that always told me, you've got too many commas in there. This is a run-on sentence.
Superfluous.
Hey, so what?
Right.
Man, I'm going to be writing proclamations someday.
That's what makes the government work is superfluous writing.
Proclamations and resolutions are full of thereas, and it's interesting to write them sometimes.
It's just part of the parliamentary procedure of the whole thing.
Yeah.
How do you use the right verbiage?
It's kind of a throwback to honor those who came before us with their ye old English, ye olde English.
It's always written on a scroll. That's nice. So the proclamation was given out, and by the way, that needs to be said because it was a messy primary. I mean, there was a lot of talk back and forth, a lot of mudslinging, a lot of candidates, managers getting really ugly with each other. And as I mentioned last week, after the dust settled, we got to work together now.
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
even the people who were talking smack got to come together and make it work together.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're fortunate in our community. We usually see pretty eye to eye, and we don't have a whole lot of that. Typically, this time was kind of the exception, and I'm thankful we're past it, and we've got some good people that will be running for in the general election in November. So that's really good. So I know we have a lot of ground to cover, and I know you really want to stretch this out as long as we can.
Sure.
Yeah.
The less I got to talk and the more I can kind of rest the pipes, the better. So sing to the rafters, my friend.
I'm used to Mike, so if I'm real quiet, I'm just waiting for you to finish your thought or your thoughts or, So first thing we do in all of our agendas is we lead off with our public hearings. So that's where people have to come in and be either for or against something, that type of thing. So the first one is we had a public comment forum for our ICIP. And as we've discussed in the past, our ICIP is our Infrastructure Capital Improvement Plan. It's a 5-year plan of the big projects. They have to meet a certain requirement, have to be long-lasting, have to be physical things, can't be a program, for instance, has to be a tangible item. So we try to include the public in that, and so we have a public hearing every year with it. It's an occasional input from the public. People come forward and say, you know what, I think this would be good, or I like that project. What about doing it this way? Usually the public lets us deal with it. So, I have to do a real shout out to our staff. Adriana, she's our grant writer. She has to take this from each of our department heads, have to come in and say, okay, I would like to see this, and this happen in the next 5 years. And then you have to prioritize them based on which year. So 2026 to 2030 is the ICIP. And so they say, okay, I would like to see this project as a priority of 3 in 2026, and this project as a priority of 2 in 2029. So they kind of have to really give it a lot of thought. And every year they have to update their amounts, because these projects, of course, if they're on a 5-year list, every year they get a little closer. Sometimes that priority is, as I say, comes up as you move forward towards the date when you initially put it in. Want to see this happen in 2029. 2029 comes along. Sometimes other things have come up that are more pressing than those projects, and so it might actually fall back down. And we have a lot of examples of that. One of the things that I put on the ICIP in 2015 was the Cultural Plaza, Chaves County Cultural Plaza.
Okay.
It never really rose to a real high priority, but it was something we wanted to see and wanted to do if the stars ever aligned.
Right.
Well, as it turns out, the stars aligned. Main Street Roswell came forward. They had $2.1 million to do a project like this. And so they came to us and says, hey, do you have a place where we could do something like this? As a matter of fact, we do. And we have a project designed already in our ICIP. Before we can ask for money for something, we have to have it in our infrastructure plan. So we do this every year, and these things, the priority up and down, depending on what's the most important for the county.
Right.
So we asked for input for our 2026, 2030 ICIP, and then we had to prioritize that plan. We also passed a resolution allowing signatories and kind of some boilerplate, stuff that has to happen in the background, but not really real exciting stuff.
The cogs of the system, the inner machinations.
Yeah, we work sometimes at glacial speeds, but that's because we have to do so many things. We have a lot of T's to cross and a lot of I's to dot to make sure that we do it right. So we came up with our top 5 on our ICIP for next year. The top 5 are the Cooperative Extension Service.
Okay.
We bought a building for them a couple of years ago, about a year and a half ago now, and we have plans to completely renovate it. We actually had it on our ICIP last year, and the legislators were kind and gave us about $400,000 or $590,000, I believe, to start the process of renovating or reconstructing, I guess. It's essentially a brand new building. We just have to change the layout a little bit.
Repurpose it for it's the needs that we have for the extension office.
Yeah, and so that's a good one. Security upgrades at detention facility. We're always trying to figure out better ways to run that mousetrap, and it's coming along really well. We have a really good staff there: Michael Briscoe, John Crocker, Mr. Fioretta, Mr. McLean. They're all working very diligently to make our detention facility a goal for others to reach. In fact, our detention facility is probably one of the few, if not the only one in the state that is now fully staffed. We had staffing issues, and they have across the U.S., but we had some management that issues that perhaps caused a lot of that. We have new management, and we are essentially fully staffed. I mean, we always vary, 3 or 4, because they come, they go. People like me walk in there, and after they took the job and say, I don't think this is the place for me.
This ain't for me. That's more terrifying than anything else, that so many of the detention facilities here in the state are understaffed.
Most.
That's terrifying.
And it's across the nation. Most of them are understaffed. And we were at a critical level when we got our new management in, and they quickly turned it around. They quickly started training the detention officers so that they feel more in charge. They know how to handle all these situations. They have a training academy. I mean, they've just really done a lot of things. But it's really important that we keep not only our employees, our detention officers, lieutenants, sergeants, whatever, safe. But we also need to keep the detainees safe. I mean, we have an obligation to do that. They're in there for whatever reason, makes no difference, but they deserve to be treated fairly and well. And Mr. Briscoe, our detention administrator, has even improved on their feeding schedule.
Nice.
You know, they had a minimum requirement for calories per day and that kind of thing. He says, well, that's the minimum requirement. That doesn't mean that that's all you have to do for them. Mm-hmm. So he worked with Summit Foods, our food provider, and made sure that they increased what they get each day. Excellent. You know, he's looking out for everybody, for both sides, and making sure that everyone stay there as comfortable as it can be.
Sure.
Whether you're working there, whether you're staying there.
You know, and that's the joke that, you know, everybody makes is, well, at least you got 3 hots and a cot. Well, you know, got to make sure that those hots are decent, you know, and that cot is actually provided, not, you know, just a space on the floor.
Absolutely. But anyway, we've got security upgrades there. We've found a few, well, we're always watching for ways to improve the facility, and we found some security, don't want to really call them breaches, but some things we could do better. And so we've been working on that. We've got a full body scanner now. So if somebody is arrested and this happens, they'll leave the jail with a laundry list. This is what you need to bring back in. They'll go out, they'll round up whatever they're supposed to bring back in, get themselves rearrested 2 days later, come back in, and then distribute the paraphernalia or whatever that they brought in. And so we now have a full body scanner, and those instances, you'd be amazed what people can hide on or in their bodies.
I've watched plenty of cop dramas over the years. So this is now a full scan versus the old turn and cough method.
Yes.
Or squat and cough method, I guess.
This is, you know, kind of like they have at the airports and stuff. I mean, you can see all the way through a person and find lots of things. And it pretty amazing what all a person can bring in. And one person can bring in a lot of stuff. So anyway, that's one of the security upgrades we've done. Let's move on, Sean.
I'm sorry. Let's move on. Let's move on. There's just a line from a stand-up comic that just keeps running through my head. Let's move on.
Another one, not a real exciting project, but the courthouse roof. It's ending the end of its life. It's got a 20-year warranty. We put it on our ICIP last year. We did not get any funding for it, but it's going to still have to be done.
Sure.
It's a year older than it was last year when it was a high priority. Those are the projects that we do that aren't real exciting or shiny or anything, but that's one of the reasons the county does not have a real high deferred maintenance on their buildings and stuff. Their buildings are all pretty well kept, and they're constantly looking ahead rather than waiting for something to happen, being reactive rather than proactive, and we try to be proactive. Again, the Cultural Plaza is the number 4 item on our ICIP, and again, that's because we had money come forward. We're not done with the project yet. We're probably going to be going out for bids, I'm thinking maybe in the next 30 days to actually get it done. So we're ready to start construction. It might be August before we actually go out, but it's coming right up on that.
Would that be something that gets set up like in the city area, or would that be something more out in the county?
No, it's actually downtown. One of the reasons we decided to do this is the city needs downtown bathrooms. When they have large events and stuff, it puts undue burden on the businesses on Main Street to provide bathrooms for all the tourists and
you
people
see those
that come
signs?
through.
I've already started seeing them pop up. No public restrooms.
Right, and can't fault them for that. So we have a vacant lot over behind the parking lot at the courthouse on Virginia Street. So it's Main Street adjacent, but it will actually be large bathrooms, large meeting area. A lot of the events that happen on the courthouse lawn can actually happen back there.
Excellent.
Now, when I say public bathrooms, those bathrooms will not be open 24/7 because we don't want them to be
taken advantage of.
And where people that come to visit Roswell are afraid to go over there because it's like a third world country.
These aren't the bathrooms you want. Yeah, no.
So the area will actually be fenced, and during events, like say if we're having the UFO festival or something, then they're opened up. Then they can be utilized by the larger number of tourists that come to town. So that was one of the main criteria for putting it on our ICIP years ago. And finally, all the stars aligned, the funding came up. Main Street, Roswell, the Great Blocks program, the state of New Mexico, we're working with the city. We're working, of course, with the county. We're working with the school districts. Main Street, we're all trying to do something that's good for our community. it's on county property. The county's the fiscal agent for it, but we want this to be a community project.
Right.
We've got input from our community to make sure it's the best thing it can be for everybody and not just, a standoff kind of thing. So, but we're a little short on money. They brought $2.1 million to the table to build this. And everything after COVID, if you can even get contractors, we'll go over that here in a minute. We've got several contracts that we did last Thursday. During COVID, people quit working.
Right.
People quit showing up for work. Contractors got to where they couldn't staff things. It's all that they can do. The 2 or 3 that actually want to work, they have trouble.
Not to mention, everything is so much more expensive. I mean, with inflation and everything, and when you make a plan, like you had said several years back, you make this plan for this cultural center, and just even in the few years, that it finally comes to fruition, now everything costs 2-3 times more than it was going to at the beginning.
Initially, this project was $700,000 project, and we're at the opinion of probable cost is slightly more than the $2.1 million that we have. So, everything has just gone up tremendously. Some of our other projects. So we did that top 5 capital ICIP projects. So we'll move on past that. We had another public hearing variance. We have setback requirements just like they do in the city. So in the city, I believe there's a 5-foot setback requirement. If you're going to build a garage or something, a house on your property, the neighbors are going to build one on theirs. There's a 5-foot setback, I think, with the city. Now I may be wrong with the amount, but anyway, they're much closer than they are out in the county. And that's if your house catches on fire, it doesn't catch on the one next door.
Right.
So we don't have the Great Chicago Fire in Roswell. So
darn Mrs. Brown's cow.
They set those things up for public safety. Well, in the county, we say, well, we've got more room to work with. Most lots are much larger, and also we actually have a larger setback. So we have a 25-foot setback from the property line.
Okay.
And someone placed a manufactured home, and they mismeasured, and so they ended up at 22-something feet. So they were a little bit under the 25 feet.
Gotcha.
The neighbor next door, now he's over 100 feet away. They're 25 feet. Like I say, in town, we're only looking at 10 feet distance between buildings. In the county, we're looking at 50 feet. In this case, it's probably about 150 feet between the two things. So the only choice they had short of tearing down everything, moving it over
20 feet.
2 feet.
Yeah, 2 feet.
2 feet and rehooking everything back up, which would be it's a shame. It was an accident. They messed up, but they owned it. They acknowledged it. They came in and says, can we get a variance? So instead of being 25 feet, can we be at 21'9" or 22, whatever it was? I don't know the exact measurement. So anyway, that went through pretty easily. And that also had to go through the Planning and Zoning Committee first. And they made a recommendation, yes, this should be approved. They sent it forward to the commissioners. Commissioners heard both sides of the story and said, yeah, let's go ahead and approve this. So
yeah, as long as all parties are okay with it, it seems like it's just a semantical thing.
Yeah, it's just, the rules are in place and there's a reason for that, but there's also times when those rules don't fit every situation.
Sure.
So our commissioners are real good about watching that.
I'm just saying, I know people out in the county have a lot more access to firearms. You don't want to mess those rules up, okay? You impede on my property, I'm gonna go get the shotgun.
So we also, like I say, passed a resolution to go along with the ICIP. We moved that up to that public hearing side so we didn't have to readdress it later on. We also approved an agreement for our monies for DWI programs. So there's an agreement where the state's giving us a certain amount of money. And then we have, I think there's 12 different agreements where we just pass that money through to the different entities that do different things for us in the county pertaining to DWI and those kind of things. Okay. So that's $515,000 we spent on those things. That's Project Graduation, Wings for Life, Aspen, Teens Needing Teens, other contractors that are providing services, La Casa Behavioral Health. It's just a whole litany of people and entities that do really good things for our community. And again, like I say, we apply for grants, we get that money, and we pass it right through to help within our community to do those things.
Sure.
Then the reason I'm trying to get through this is because we spent a lot of money last Thursday. Like I say, the $515,000, we're not even going to count that. That's just kind of a pass-through.
Oh, that's the pocket change.
So we spent about $10.9 million.
See, this is where I feel like I need the All I do is win, 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 no matter what. Because you guys are big spenders, all right.
Well, we try to take care of things in the county. We try to take care of the needs that are done. But as we talked a minute ago about the courthouse roof and those things that aren't real exciting, we do those ongoing. We're constantly spending, and that courthouse roof is $530,000. So, I mean, just a roof alone is $500,000. And we have these kind of projects going all the time, not real exciting. Nobody talks about them.
Sure.
The projects that I'm going to talk about now are a little more exciting, a little more, they make the headlines.
All right.
In fact, we had a groundbreaking for the Public Health Department a couple of weeks ago. It was on the front page of the newspaper.
Mm-hmm.
That project, we awarded the contract to Wade Construction of Roswell for a new public health office, and that was $6.8 million for a new public health office. It'd be a complete rebuild. We brought in the Department of Health at the beginning. We said, what do you guys need? What do you see needing to happen to provide for a building that will provide for you guys for the next 50 years? The building they're in now, I think, was built in 1977.
It's, if you've ever been to the health department, it is, I mean, you really feel like you're walking into the past.
Absolutely. I mean, the halls are narrow. It's winding in and out. The bathroom doors are barely wide enough to walk through. It's very difficult to do accessibility in a building like that isn't designed for it. So years ago, we looked at it and said, well, we're going to have to do something. So do we build a new building? Do we move them to another location, then gut it and rebuild? How do we do this? And as it turns out, we felt like some of the local assistance and tribal consistency funds that we got a couple of years ago, and those were set aside for counties who suffered by programs from the federal government over the past 20 years. Well, we easily were able to point out how Chaves County suffered by some of the decisions that were made in Washington over the last 20 years. So just payment in lieu of taxes and secure rural schools payments that we normally get from the federal government to make up for the lands that are not on our tax rolls because they have something there,
right,
or they have nothing there in a lot of cases, but they still need to help us with the cost of the county.
Sure.
But they can never depend on those. Sometimes they fund them, sometimes they don't. And so what happens? The taxpayers end up having to foot the bill for the federal government. And I also have another thing at the end of this, if we get there, want to talk about that. But anyway, $6.8 million for public health department.
So did we decide to keep it on the same spot, or?
No, it's actually a new location. It's essentially, not exactly, but it's essentially at the corner of Garden and Hobbs near Pecos Elementary School.
Okay.
It's actually a little bit north of the intersection, but it's a brand new wide open spot. They came in and said, our ideal health department have this would be laid out this way. And we said, as long as you stay within the square footage requirements that we establish, that we'll give you anything and everything that you want.
So now it's all about feng shui
and it is an amazing use of space. It's not a whole lot larger than the existing space, but the existing space, as you brought up, is not well laid out. It's just a hodgepodge of weird shaped rooms and halls and all this stuff. The new building, much more contemporary design.
Very nice.
It's very nice, a nice looking building. It's going to really improve the neighborhood. It's a nice addition to our community.
Awesome.
So another thing that we did, another agreement that we did, was for the Pecos Valley Regional Communication Center. So we have at the Chaves County building, we have a small area set aside for dispatch, which they deal with the city of Roswell, police and fire, county sheriff, EMTs. Everybody is dispatched through that one office. It's about 900 square feet where they have all their consoles and everything.
Wow.
And, when we built the Chaves County building 22 years ago, consolidated dispatch was not a thing at the time.
Right.
Everyone had their own. We worked with the city of Roswell. We came up with a joint powers agreement. We have our dispatch. It's housed in the city or in the county building. It's not a very large area. They've grown. Their responsibilities have grown, and we felt a need to provide them a better space.
Absolutely.
So the Chaves County building has what we call Area D, which is it was an ad alternate that was put on the building. So the main part of the building that houses the assessor, the treasurer, the sheriff, everybody, there's like you step out the door and right back into another area, and there's a whole another piece of the building. When they built the building, they they built that ad alternate so that they could remodel the Chaves County Courthouse because they knew it had to be remodeled. There would be no place to have courts. And so they planned ahead. They said, we'll temporarily use this for courts, and we'll temporarily use this for courts. We have some other property nearby that the judges can use for their offices, their chambers. And so anyway, after the courthouse was remodeled, then they moved back into the courthouse, which left this end of the building vacant. But there were no bathrooms or anything down there, so it was hard to use for much more than storage. It was a glorified storage area. So we started working on how do we make this a good part of the building. So over the last 4 or 5 years, we've been doing what we could as we went along. And again, like I say, these are some of these projects that you don't really realize the county's doing, but we spent $500,000 or so probably upgrading that end of the building. So we have a new public entrance with automatic doors.
Nice.
We have new public bathrooms in there that are, nice bathrooms. We currently use it for the voting area, but there's a section of that part of the building that we are going to utilize for Pecos Valley Dispatch. So it's about 4 times the amount of space that they have now. So it should last them, we hope, for another 20, 30 years. The price tag on that, $2.5 million. So we had a contractor from out of town that wanted that project, and they were unable to fulfill all the requirements needed to move forward with it. So we had to pull that back and went out again and requested from the people that had bid on it before and others. We sent letters that please bid on this, please bid on this, please bid on this to 4 different entities. We got 1 bid back.
Wow.
And that was from Wade Construction. So that's $2.5 million for the renovations that are needed there to house Pecos Valley Dispatch. And that particular project's heavy on electrical kind of stuff, communications. Because the building's there, it's solid, it's good. It just needs to be refit for the kind of work you guys do.
For the use case that would be doing. And that's something crazy to think about. It's we own the space, we own the property, we own the building, but it's still such an undertaking to set up everything with the electrical, to set up the spacing. That it's that big of an undertaking at $2.1 million, even when we still own the property. That's significant.
Right. And that's true. And part of it is because post-COVID, prices have gone up exponentially. This one, like I say, being a complicated electrical-centric project, those technicians make a little more money for what they do. So $2.5 million there. We also have $1 million construction project for East Pine Lodge Road. As everyone knows, the de facto truck route around Roswell is you turn on Red Bridge Road, go down to Pine Lodge, come back out on Main Street. And that's been working okay, but that road was never designed for, 100 semis an hour, probably.
Oh, you don't say!
So, you ever been run off the road out there?
Oh, my God, so many times.
So one of the problems that we're going to have with that is we have to shut the road down because it is a de facto truck route, because of the volume of traffic, because of the damage it's done to the road. We have no alternative but to shut that down, completely redo what we can, and we're limited by the width of the right-of-way. So the right-of-way is not wide. We have to do the best that we can within the footprint of what's there. But we can't do it with trucks zooming by at 60 miles an hour if we're lucky.
That's going to require some serious diversion.
Yes, and we've already started meeting with the City of Roswell. How are we going to assure that the traffic goes around properly? And they pointed out that the actual truck bypass in Roswell is you're supposed to come to Atkinson Street, go up Atkinson to College, I believe it is, and come back out on Main. Not ideal. It would be better if someday we can go ahead and get an east side bypass as we did on the west side. But for now, that's the route. People have found that Red Bridge and Pine Lodge is also a route. So we're going to have to do all that, but that's $1 million there.
Sure.
We also have a little renovation to what we call St. Mary's Complex, and that's for our COG, our Southeastern New Mexico Economic Development District. They help us with a lot of projects. They help us with our CDBG, with our outreach to the legislators when we need funding, and they would like a larger conference room. So $366,000 there.
Sure.
Also, for the Chaves County Cultural Plaza, we were awarded some money on a junior bill, and you only have until June 30th to spend that, not to just tie it up and say, I've got a purchase order here
I've got
for
this
5%.
The money's planned out. No, it's got to actually.
You have to fully expend all of the funds prior to the reversion date.
So it's
June
a real
30th.
Brewster's Millions situation going on.
So in September, we probably got the actual contract from them. We can't spend it till we have it. So monies came in September, was approved last February. Monies came in September. We had to quickly figure out how we're going to spend all this money. So one thing, we took the design that Main Street Roswell had for the Cultural Plaza, and it was just a schematic design, just a basic design. It wasn't completely built out, didn't have all the electrical, the plumbing, the grading requirements.
Right.
So we went to an architect, said, we need this design done quickly. They already had their design. Let's build it out for this particular spot. They were able to get that done. So we're able to pay for that, but that also left us with some money.
Sure.
So as I said, one of the main components of the Cultural Plaza was to have outdoor bathrooms for Main Street. And we didn't want just a one-holer. You know, we wanted nice bathrooms. And so the bathrooms that were designed for the Cultural Plaza are 3 men's, 3 women's.
Okay.
On each side, plus the lobby area. Probably not a good term, but whatever it is, where you wash your hands.
Sure.
And I don't guess you stop there to meet and greet.
That
lobby
is
may
where,
not be.
That is where conversation is allowed to start and stop. If you take it to the urinal, buddy, you've gone too far.
You've gone too far.
But if we're washing hands, then you can talk about the weather. Small talk
That's
only.
about it.
We don't get deep.
How you doing?
Exactly.
Good. Okay.
Hot out there, isn't it? Yep. Well.
Okay.
See you later.
So anyway, we as a part of the design, there's a prefabricated bathroom. So it's 3 on each side, plus all the necessary water heater and all the hookups and all that.
Sure.
So we purchased that for $213,000, or got approval to get it ordered, get it purchased. And another little wrinkle in that was that they had a price increase scheduled for last Friday. And we said, we can't place the order, or I think it was the Friday before. We can't place the order without getting permission from the commissioners. We've got the money, we're ready to go, we know the design, we know the model number, but we can't place this order till we get permission. Right. And they held it open for us rather than going up on their, because it's going to be built in the future. You know, they won't actually build it probably for 3 months.
Right.
So the cost is really no different for them to do it this week or next week. Mm-hmm. It's just the markup change. So they were gracious enough to work with us on that. But anyway, all those projects that are happening at the county were $10.9 million. Wow. So, you know, there are things going on in the county besides the things that you don't see, the millions of dollars that are replacing roofs and keeping our buildings in good condition so that we don't have a maintenance backlog. So
I like the planning ahead so that we don't have just half the roof collapse in on us and then we address the problem. No,
that's not a good way to work. So if we have a few more minutes, I have a few more topics, but you tell me when
we can go for a few more.
You're out of here.
We got time, no problem.
So that's kind of the way we did with our agreements and everything. Along with that, we had some other housekeeping we had to do. We had a resolution approving the county commission agreed to pick up the public employees' retirement increases. So they had a 0.5% increase. There was a percentage increase on the employees themselves, but then they split that up. And so the employer has to pay a portion, the employee has to pay a portion. Right. And Chaves County for the last 10 years, every time this kind of thing comes up, every time there's a increase on health care, anytime there's an increase on para, they pick it up for their employees. It's a really good place to work for. Our commissioners really care about the staff and all the work that they do. And kind of going back to this $11 million, you know, there's a lot of people that do a lot of hard work to spend that money to get things done. You know, we've got Anna, our procurement specialist.
Sure.
You know, she has to get all those specifications in place. She has to advertise it appropriately, legally, has to go through all the detailed reports that come back in and say, did you do this? Did you do this? Or did you miss something? She has to do all that. Alex, our public service director, has to help her build all the specifications. He has to review the contracts when they come in, or the proposed contracts. Mm-hmm. When the contract is signed and the agreement's done, he has to make sure that the project's being done appropriately, that salaries are being paid appropriately, because these are government projects, so they do have to pay salary. Besides that, we've got Adriana, who writes all the grants and helps us to get money and funding for that. And then we've got the finance department that makes sure the money's there before the commissioners agree to this. So it's just all these pieces have to work together, and they have to work together well, or you end up in a problem. And so we're very fortunate that we have really good staff at the county that does those kind of things. So the commissioners, they recognize that. They give us things when they can. And they've been very fortunate, very generous by, providing for the PRA increase, the healthcare increases and stuff. They also allowed us to make a couple of changes to the personnel charge. We're going to be hiring an IPRA clerk, another person specifically to do IPRA. The legislature allowed people to just pound us to death as government entities. People ask for it's public records.
Right.
For everything imaginable. So the people that the sheriff is cracking down on drag racing now, they know that they've got lapel cams and they've got cameras in their vehicles and all that. So the second that they get arrested for drag racing, what's the first thing they do is they do an IPRA request for all the video so they can share that with their friends and show that. And, it takes countless hours to go through all that stuff. And if it's a criminal thing, they have to blur out faces. They have to take out, children's information, all that kind of stuff. They can't share that. So hours and hours and hours. So the IPRA thing, the other position that the commission said that we could get is a mechanical plumbing inspector.
Okay.
So currently Chaves County does electrical inspections and building inspections, both residential and commercial. But we don't have a mechanical plumbing inspector. So if you're building a house, for instance, you have to call the state. It may take you a month because the volume of things the state does to get your permit back. Send it to Las Cruces. They have to evaluate the plans. They have to look at everything. If there's any problems with it, it may take you more than a month, but it takes a while just to get your permit. And then you're going along building your house. I need the plumbing inspector to come out and look at the plumbing or the heating and cooling before I can cover the walls up with the sheetrock. Well, they're covering a large area throughout the state, and so they may not get there for 2 or 3 days, whereas our local inspectors, same thing with the city of Roswell. If you make a call to the city of Roswell and say, hey, I need you to come do a framing inspection on my new house, more than likely they're going to be there the same day, possibly the next day. Chaves County building department does the same thing. If you call, we're going to get out there and get it done quickly. And like I said, it's no jab at the state by any means. They just have such a large physical area that they have to cover that they can't get there as quickly and efficiently as we can. So by adding the mechanical plumbing inspector, we have a full inspection department. So we'll be able to do everything that a person needs.
It's really going to cut down on some of that waiting time for sure.
If anyone would like a job as a building inspector, electrical inspector, mechanical plumbing inspector, you have to have had experience at least a supervisory level for 3 years. We're kind of limited by the state construction industries division. They'll look at the resume of the person that we hire and say, yes, you can take the test, or no, you don't have the experience required to take the test. It's the same thing if you get your contractor's license. You have to have so many years in a certain trade.
Sure.
So if you are experienced in that, please apply for building inspector, plumbing inspector, or electrical inspector. But you do need to have some good supervisory level experience.
A little experience under your belt, you're probably some of the apprenticeship, obviously, but then if you've had in a supervisory position, that's what's going to make your resume stand out.
So wrapping up real quick, we passed a resolution to support the Carlsbad Irrigation District congressional petition to amend the Land Transfer Act of 2021 or 2001.
Okay.
June 21st, 2001. What that is the Carlsbad Irrigation District came into existence actually before the turn of the century, but in 1905 is when they began their relationship with the Bureau of Reclamation, the Federal Bureau of U.S. Bureau of Reclamation.
Right.
And so they are responsible for about 500 farmers down in southern Eddy County, making sure that they get water from the ditch. There are some wells that supplement their stuff, but mostly it's Pecos River water that's diverted for farming. And that all started in about 1905. So because they had some floods and took out their dams and a few things, the federal government came in and says, we'll help you finance this stuff, we'll get you going. And so they were kind of partnered with that. Well, June 21st of 2000, they did the federal, what's it called here? I got to find it again. It's kind of a weird thing. Land Transfer Act for the Carlsbad Irrigation District Land Transfer Act. So they said all the infrastructure that we've been holding for you for all these years until you got it all paid off, it's been paid off for decades. We want to transfer all that stuff to you so that now it's yours to deal with and the federal government's out of it. You can manage it on a local level and all that. Sounds really good on the surface. So they entered into an agreement with the federal government. After the agreement was signed and the ink hadn't dried, then the federal government comes forward and says, oh, by the way, there are what we call radial gates on the Sumner Dam in Fort Sumner, which is almost 200 miles away from Carlsbad. And now you're responsible for replacing those bad boys at $30 to $35 million. And it's like, so the 500 farmers in Carlsbad probably are not in the flood control business. And certainly if they were, their flood control is managed by the Brantley Dam, any flooding in southern Eddy County. So the flooding that would happen if the dam gates failed at Sumner would be Chaves County, it'd be Roswell, Dexter, Hagerman, Lake Arthur, Artesia, but it really wouldn't affect Carlsbad. So why would they be the ones responsible for replacing the floodgates on a dam that's almost 200 miles north of them? So anyway, they've got some support. They're going to reintroduce that act and make some amendments to it to take the burden of replacing the radial floodgates at the cost of $35 million away from the Carlsbad Irrigation District and say, Bureau of Reclamation, you're running the dam anyway. Flood control is in it's
your damn problem.
That's your problem, not ours. We're irrigation. And so we supported them. We definitely recognized the need for that to go back to the federal government, how it ended up so convoluted. There's kind of a comma missing or something in the act. If you read it one way, it sounds like the damn gates the darn gates are taken care of.
And that's why government spends so much time dotting I's and crossing T's, because of stuff like this.
If you read it one way, it says the responsibility is Carlsbad. You read it another way, it says it's BOR. But we need it clarified so that it doesn't end up being a burden on the Carlsbad Irrigation District. $35 million to about 500 farmers. That's unreal.
Very significant. Well, we're out of time here. Bill, thank you so much for your time. We'll see you back next month.
Yes.
With a whole lot more fun stuff to talk about.
Thank
you. A whole
you.
lot more money being spent. Appreciate you. 2 minutes away from 10 o'clock. We'll be back after these.
Attention Roswell and surrounding areas. Is your old car, truck, or SUV on life support?
Clear.
With new management and a whole new attitude, Roswell Ford makes trading up to a new Ford or quality pre-owned vehicle fast, fun, and easy. Upside down in your loan or stuck in your lease? Roswell Ford wants to get you released even if you owe thousands more than your trade is worth, regardless of make, miles, or condition. Right now, get huge savings with rates as low as 0% for 66 months and no payments until Labor Day. Plus, we have a great selection of low-mileage, one-owner pre-owned vehicles, all in prime condition, starting at just $10,000. Don't settle for a low-quality, overpriced clunker. Buy a quality pre-owned vehicle from Roswell Ford for a lot less. Worried about your credit? Don't sweat it. We've partnered with the most aggressive lenders that will push to approve you today, even with bad or no credit. Lower prices, exceptional trade-in values, and a better buying experience. Get on board at Roswell Ford, 821 North Main Street in beautiful Roswell, or online at roswellford.com. $1,515 per thousand financed on select new Ford models with approved credit.
106.5 Roswell's Talk FM, powered by Alien Technology. Foreign technology. It's made in Taiwan.
That is going to wrap things up from our end. Travis and Sexton up next on 106.5 Roswell Talk FM. Mike Winters back tomorrow. See you then.
Hugh Hewitt is now in Roswell on 106.5 FM KEND Roswell.